Our new partner who I'm really, really excited to announce we are working with. Super, super stoked. Thank you, Angie Huberman, for this connect. It's incredible. AG1 Athletic Greens. I've been using them for a while. I have them every morning on an empty stomach. Basically, take one scoop and you put it into a cup or glass or mug of 8 ounces of cold water. And this is all your greens for the day. You're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Every day I take this. It's so good for my digestion, my energy. It's simple. It's easy. I don't like taking a lot of vitamins. This has been really, really helpful for me. I've had a lot of stomach issues my whole life, and ever since I've been gluten-free and taking the AG1s, it's really helped me in my stomach in the mornings. I love it, and I'm so psyched that they're part of the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm sure a lot of people don't like eating greens, let alone drinking your greens, but I can tell you straight up, it's got a mild tropical taste, and the taste is actually really refreshing, and I really look forward to it each morning. Don't think it's just going to be just straight bland. It tastes really, really good, and it's good for you, so remember that. This one blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. It's incredible, just one scoop, especially for musicians who are vegans or just musicians in general who want to get those daily greens. You can get the packets. It's incredible. I just gave some to my friend Derek from Sepultura. He traveled the whole entire world this summer, and he had those every single day. He said it saved him. I bring AG1s with me when I travel. It helps me stay healthy. You know the deal. If you're on tour and you are a picky eater, but you need to have your greens, sometimes catering doesn't have greens. Sometimes you miss the catering. Sometimes you miss the backstage food. Sometimes it's too late after the show to go get food that you like. So if you just have a scoop of AG1s in your hotel room before you go to bed, or you're in the hotel room at night and you're starving, you want something healthy, boom, life changer. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with some convenient daily nutrition. That's all you need, one scoop in a cup every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. This is it. I'm super psyched. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. This is incredible. I love it. It's just basic greens. For me personally, this has changed my life tremendously. I'm not a junk food vegan. I don't eat a lot of fake meats, so I'm strictly greens. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful new addition to my life. So once again, visit drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. Get 1 free year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. Yo, Liquid Death, thank you so much for hydrating all my guests, taking care of me and my family and my friends. Love your water, love your brand, love what you stand for, love what you give back to the community. If you want to learn more about Liquid Death and how it started, listen to episode 115. With the co-founder, owner, and creator of Liquid Death, Mike Cesario. Just a punk rock skateboarding kid from Delaware with a dream. It's an incredible story, incredible journey. So if you go liquiddeath.com/Toby, you get free shipping on any items you order from liquiddeath.com. And if you want to get water, Liquid Death water, go to amazon.com. But for merchandise and other things that's not water, go to liquiddeath.com/Toby and get free shipping. Thank you so much, Liquid Death. Death to plastic, murder your thirst, stay hydrated. You know H2O saves lives.
Let the pandemic just kind of come and go in my mind.
Yeah, how do you sound? Do you sound okay?
I think I sound great.
All right, so.
I can be louder if you need me to, but this is my soft. This is for people to listen to when they're in bed. In like in a moon, like a yellow, kind of orange glow bedroom.
Nice, okay.
Candlelight.
Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Man, I don't even know how to do an intro for this guy. This is 4 years in the making, if longer.
This guy needs no introduction.
My brother, Anthony Civarelli, man, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's really happening.
I like to, I'm fashionably late to this.
You play hard to get.
Well, yeah, Toby's been asking for about 4 years, and I usually just would say, I'm good.
Or on like podcasts.
I'm good.
My favorite thing is I'm good.
I'm good.
That was my favorite quote. I forgot what year it was. But, dude, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
For the listeners, people know we have a long-time friendship for over 30 years. Part of my life is living with you guys and just so many things. But You don't really do that many podcasts, huh?
I try not to.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I don't know.
You have
know,
anything to
I have shit to say, but like does anybody
listen to your songs?
Anybody give a fuck? Or
Yeah.
or come, people come to shows, and I find like that's a way you can talk shit and vent and get your point across. I think I'm a pretty open book and simple.
Or people like listen to your lyrics, or they know what you're about. But
I mean, the band is definitely has to do with like who I am 100% as a person. We're just a hardcore, like lyrics and songs shape you and give you a belief system and stuff. So, I mean, but everybody knows. I think it's just like, oh yeah, that guy, he does this and he does that, and that's it.
Yeah, but for the world that knows you of that, there's a world that I know you of as just being a really hardworking human with a really wonderful work ethic. Like when I first met you, working a laundromat. You've never not worked a job. You've always been smart with your money. You own several properties. You were always really just in, and I'm not even sure because I met you after the fact of your schooling and how you grew up. I'm not even sure you went to college for any of this kind of stuff.
I did, but not for any of this stuff. I tried to be the first person in my family to even attend college. And I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice for like a year. When I graduated school like a little bit early. I was 17 when I started college, I think, or 18. And I was there, and I thought if everything went fucking pear-shaped and things didn't work out with either working in a health food store or owning a health food store or music, I would become a fireman because it seemed like a pretty sweet gig. Sick. And then they offered this thing, fire science. And I said, okay, maybe I can do that and be proactive. But I wasn't great at that. And I remember being in a fire science class with like 4 grown-ass men who were trying to like further their careers in the fire department. And I had like bleach blonde hair and Vans shirt, like a minor threat shirt on, and like all these fucking wrist bracelets. And I didn't know what was happening. And the teacher took a break one day. I was there for probably like 3 or 4 weeks in this class, just making these men suffer. And the teacher left, and they all like literally got up, surrounded my desk, and they were like, "Hey man, what the fuck are you doing in this class?" And I said, "You know what, man? I have no fucking idea."
Did you always want to be a fireman as a kid too?
No. Yeah. You know what my goal was when I was little? The job that I thought was the best job ever, because my dad had a friend named Joey Hot Dogs. Hot dog man. I was like, you stand outside all day. Yeah. You get free fucking hot dogs, and you get paid. Yeah. That was like my 6-year-old goal. That was like a win-win.
Johnny Hot Dogs?
Joey Hot Dogs.
Joey Hot Dogs.
He was, my dad grew up in Ravenswood, which is now the Queensbridge Projects.
Okay.
So Joey Hot Dogs made an impression on me.
And where in Queens were you born exactly?
Jackson Heights.
Jackson Heights.
I was born in East Elmhurst Hospital.
And your brother, you have a brother named Vito?
I do have a brother named Vito.
So just you two?
No, my sister Laura.
Oh, that's right.
I'm the baby.
And neither of them ever got into music or anything like that, like you're into?
My brother, my sister was like more of like a disco queen era, kind of like Saturday Night Fever kind of vibe. Yeah. She'd go out dancing in clubs. And then my brother was a metalhead, so he introduced me to a lot of good music. When we were kids. He's 4 years older than me. But he was a concert king, man. We had ticket stubs all over the walls. He saw Sabbath. Wow. He saw Led Zeppelin. He saw Van Halen before they even had a record out. He was into like Rush, The Who.
He got you into that kind of stuff?
Yeah, he got me into that. But he thought, when we got into shit, he didn't know what the fuck was going on. He embraced it eventually, but he was just like
he wasn't down with the punk rock and that stuff.
No, that was like he was like a rocker, but there's like a style rocker where you're almost like a country guy, where you're just like you're like, you're doing this stupid and you're fucking weirdos. Yeah. But like but he was just who he was. He was a Queens guy, and then gave up any, after high school, you just give up any hopes and dreams. You start working on a truck, and then you get married, and you just suffer. It's a life of pure suffering.
Fuck. And how was it growing up for you? Like, how was it for you in school, and how were you as a kid?
Growing up in school, I went to a Catholic school, and if you ask Jimmy Perry, he would
Jimmy Perry, yeah, shout out Jimmy Perry.
If you ask Jimmy Perry, he'd call me like a quintessential like freckle-faced redhead asshole bully kind of a person, because I was having issues at home, so I would kind of lash out at neighborhood kids in school, and we were just street kids, and we were like smoking pot and drinking by 12 years old. Jimmy too.
Wow.
And writing graffiti and doing what we were doing.
What was your tag name?
One was Raid, R-A-D-E.
Sick.
Until this Puerto Rican dude from the Bronx who also wrote Raid came down to the park. We hung out with a gun and to fucking shoot me.
Are you serious?
But I wasn't there. And my friends were like, "Yo, this fucking dude came down," and I was like, "What? Yeah, take the name. I think we're.
Wow.
I'll just find another 3 or 4 letters to put together." And
what was you one after?
Ming.
Ming, okay.
It was a Chinese restaurant that I saw, and I said, "Oh, that letters would look good together."
Sick.
So that was it. But that was kind of short lived.
Were you serious about graffiti at all? No, not really.
No, not like. I was serious that you could. I actually just wrote about this, but I was serious about it in a way where you could go hang out with, writers, break dancers.
Yeah.
My neighborhood was very segregated, but you could cross that barrier. You could go hang out with Puerto Rican dudes at 85th Street Park. We hung out at 77th Street Park, so 85th Street Park was more for like handball and like the Spanish dudes and black dudes. So we'd go down there, and I always had a real affection for Spanish girls. And so that was my thing when I was a kid. I always loved Puerto Rican girls. So
did you ever get to date a Puerto Rican girl?
Yeah.
Cool.
On not date, but like side hustle.
Yeah.
But that was her thing too, so it was cool. And it was great. But so like you learned to play handball well.
Oh yeah, it's a total New York thing.
You learned to write or break dance. I wasn't really good at break dance. I could dance, but not like break dance. And so I could draw a little bit. So graffiti was my way in. So it didn't matter if you were, you weren't like a fucking white boy, Yeah. You just did your.
It was neighborhood shit too.
It was neighborhood shit, but our neighborhood was very like. You stay out of my neighborhood, we stay out of your neighborhood.
Like Bronx-tail vibes.
Very Bronx-tail.
Wow.
That actually happened.
Similarities to that.
That literally happened with me and my friend Jimmy Gibbon when we were little.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, that we were like this kid. I'll tell a story. I was fucking like a little kid. I was like 10 or 12 years old or some shit. We were in front of his house, and we seen this kid, Spanish kid, riding his bike, and we were like, what we were like taught to do. We were like,
wow.
By like our friends, our family, neighborhood. So we like started chasing him, and he just was on a bike, but we felt like we were like the defenders of the block. And then, half hour later, this brown, it's like burned in my mind, this brown duster with like jacked up back Krager wheels. And it was like, that's not a neighborhood car. Whose car is that?
Yeah.
It was across the baseball field, like from our school. And so we kind of started walking towards it to see who it was. And then we seen these 4 dudes in the car, and the little kid who he chased was in the back seat, and he just pointed at us.
Ooh.
And we were like, fuck.
Damn.
So we ran. They had to go around like 3/4 of a square block to get us, but we ran through the field into a church.
Okay.
And I don't know, thought it was like some kind of, like hollow ground, like you couldn't get beat up in a church.
Yeah, we should touch you in there.
Yeah, we were fucking completely wrong. A guy opened the door. We were hiding under the pews. He spotted us immediately. They grabbed us up, pulled us outside. They were driving, so they were probably like 17, 18.
You guys are how old again?
Like 12.
Damn.
Punches me in the face. Punches my friend Jimmy Gibbon in the face. And we're just like, that's a big difference, getting punched in the face by a 12-year-old or 17-year-old.
Yes.
So we were like instantly fucked up. And he was like, he pulled a knife, put it against our face, and was just like, yo, you chased my brother, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, you're lucky I can't hit you. I was like, you definitely just punched me in the face. What do you mean you can't hit me? So it was some of the best street justice ever doled out. He made me kneel on top of my friend Jimmy's chest with his hands pinned and punch him in the face.
Wow.
Yeah. Taught us a fucking serious lesson. So I was like, listen, dude, I'm sorry. And he was like, you fucking, he definitely could have kicked my ass. And he was just like, if you punch me, I'm going to fucking kill you. I was like, this dude's got a knife. I'm punching you 100%.
Yeah.
So I gave him like a little punch, and the dude was just like, harder. And I was like, yo, Gib, sorry. He was Civ and Gib. He was Jimmy Giblin. So I was like, sorry, dude. I wanted to punch him in the face like 5 or 6 times. And then the dude was like, all right, now you punch him. So now I got beat up even worse because he's pissed that I punched him.
Oh, yeah.
So Jimmy Giblin punched the shit out of me.
Holy shit.
And then they left. And then we walked to Nick's Deli where we always hung out with bloody noses all fucking lumped up. And they were like, what happened? And we're like, fucking dude just made us beat each other up. And they were like, what? We're like, forget it, man. Just give me like a quarter bug juice. And we're just going to.
Bug juice.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Had some blue drink and sat on the curb and kind of licked our wounds.
So you're in the streets, like you're kind of trying drugs and alcohol at a young age.
Yeah, because we were hung out with my brother's friends and they were older. Yeah. So it's like what they were doing at 16, we would do at like 12.
Did your parents know you were out there kind of wilding like that?
No, it's just everybody was out. They just didn't want us in the house and get the fuck out of the house. Come back when the street lights are on, or we just eat dinner quick and run back out. And then we had a curfew and shit, but it was like they didn't know what we were doing. And
then what about in school? Did you do good in school?
No, not really. After I did good up until like 8th grade. Then 8th grade I fucked everything up because I was doing shit. And just,
so about sports?
No, I couldn't give a fuck about sports. I played hockey because I could roller skate good, but that's from like going like roller disco shit, like
sick.
When I was a kid, like rock skate. So I could skate. I could skate backwards really good. So I was a defenseman, and you get to talk shit a lot, like, oh shit, he's got a breakaway. Oh, and you take the puck and you're like, and then you get in a fight, whatever. You could be a dick in hockey.
So then you graduated, obviously.
Yes, I went to school in Queens called Monsignor McClancy Memorial High School. It was an all-boys school at the time. Then they let girls in after we left. But it was just like a bunch of, fucking dickheads from like Broad Channel, Rockaway, Bayside, from Jackson Heights, Astoria.
All-boys school, wow.
All boys. So. And
then Catholic school before that.
Yeah.
Were you going to church? Were your parents pretty religious?
We did that. My dad wasn't into it. My mom tried to be into it. So we would have to go when we were little, but that shit fell off. And then me and my brother, one time, they would they'd give you an envelope to take to church as like a donation. Like the church would shake you down for, your parents would have to pay for school, but then you get shaken down for additional money to go to church. And she sent me and my brother one time. We were really little. We were probably like 12 and 8. And he was just, the church was right near the park that we hung out at. And my brother was like, hey, you want to go to church? And I was like, fuck no. And he's like, I got this money right here. So we went to Nick's Deli, and we got heroes. We got like ham and cheese heroes, and 2 Yoo-hoos. And we went to the park, and we thought we were good. We were like, this is genius. Like, we figured it out. And then the church, they check, and the count was off. So they called my house and said, hey, we didn't get your donation. Whoa. So we got the fucking brakes beaten off us. They beat the shit out of us for stealing money from the church in their minds. But then it just kind of stopped after that.
And then how old were you when you get your first job?
I started working at that laundromat, I think like on weekends when I was like 14.
Okay.
And I worked there on and off until I think I got the, I had that job until I was 18, I think. I was
That's when I met you. Yeah.
Me and Walter I was still working there.
Walter worked there too?
No, he didn't work at all.
Damn.
That dude hates work.
So your exposure to skateboarding and punk rock, like, how did that come into your life?
Just from, I guess, Danny Zick. We got into New Wave because New Wave girls were, attractive.
Yeah.
And we were into that. And then we were looking for a new thing. And so we got into like U2 and shit like that, The Cure, Depeche Mode, whatever, like a lot of girl band shit. So we were at Duran because of it. And
did you have like a Flock of Seagulls kind of haircut or anything?
I did. I was more of a Tony Hawk.
Okay, yeah, the little
skater, yeah.
Sick.
It was like a red, shaved up. Yeah, Sonia, my friend Sonia Radovich, she took us because we were like, we were trying to be cool, but we didn't know how to do it. And she was like, all right, I'm going to bring you idiots to Astor Place.
Get your haircut.
And he got her haircut for $5. So it was like shaved up fades with like a little bit on the front. And she was like walking back and forth like, okay, good. You're good. Flat top. All right. Tony Hawk. Good. You.
Were there a lot of people skating in Queens at that time? Like street skating?
No. It was who was the first person that I saw skating in the neighborhood was Chuck Valley from Murphy's Law.
Wow. Okay.
And Chuck used to skate. I used to work at laundromat, and his mother used to do her laundry there, and he would come and help her bring her bags out of the laundromat, and he would skate. Nice. And I'd never seen nobody like Chuck. Just like, it was a wild looking guy. He just was like, he had to be punk. He was just kind of crazy looking. Yeah. And he had like big sort of like low droopy eyes and a shaved head, and he would wear like sweatpants pulled up to his knees, and he was cool style, just like a weird but it was like, what's this guy's fucking deal? You know, he was like one of the first punk guys we ever saw in like our neighborhood. And then Anthony Caminali was.
He skated too, right? Yeah.
He would skate. Ernie was really good at skating.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean,
Chunks too. Yeah.
Timmy Chunks was good. Johnny would skate. We would skate more for like transportation, because I had to get from my neighborhood to their neighborhood. So I would skate. I would like skating like dock shoes or like fucking creepers and shit. Sick. Just to like get over there.
What kind of board? You remember your first board?
It was a complete poser board. It was called the Locals Only, and it had the like plastic to safeguard the trucks.
Yes. Yeah.
And then someone gave me some sort of a Vision one, and I made like zebra grip tape on like a whiteboard, just painted it. Sick. But I wasn't good at skating. We never
ollies and shit, tricks.
Like fucking like weak ass like slides, hand down slides.
Those are cool.
Or like standing slides you can pull off once in a while. You know, watch this. I'm gonna fucking stop sliding on my tail. Like that was a trick. And jumping off of shit, you know, flip the board up, jump off shit, but nothing really good.
Were you watching like the Bones Brigade videos and all that shit?
No, I didn't give a fuck. It was more like just getting back and forth. Because it was like, that shit was out of reach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, I could barely fucking ollie up a curb, so I'm not like watching Bones Brigade going like, oh yeah, that's attainable. Yeah. I could do that.
Were you into punk rock on the same time? Did it come hand in hand?
Oh yeah. Skateboarding only came because of like hardcore and punk rock. Because that was, in our neighborhood, that was not cool. That was like, all right, I don't know why this skateboarding is going to get you beat up, but it's going to get you beat up. I'm not sure why. I'm angry. Me and Walter Walter was skating in Astoria, and we were just like on this weird like industrial area skating from someone's house to do something, and these fucking Guidos drove by, and I was in front, and I just seen this guy lean out the window with a gun, and I said, fuck, and I bailed, and as I bailed, it was a pellet gun, and I bailed between cars, and he went poof, and he fucking shot Walter in the arm, and it went like through, like it hit him like near his tricep, but it went like, just hit the skin. He went in one side and went out the other, and he was just like, like went down, and I was like, holy shit,
Jesus Christ.
So, and they were just like, you know, faggots.
Yeah, people hated skateboarding.
They hated and we were like punk, you know, and they just wanted to kill us for we just aggravated people. I
don't know why it was such a big threat. People were so taken back by it.
No, and
they hated skateboarders.
They hated punks. They hated skateboarders. Guidos hate it. But that's all they would yell at us. Everything in school, everything was that.
Who got you into punk rock and stuff?
But the best part about that is like we were like looking at his arm, and my dad was a truck driver, and he happens to be driving down the street, and he sees us.
No way.
And he stops, and he's just like, "What happened?" I was like, "Fucking Guido's just shot at us with a BB gun. They shot Walter in the arm." So he looks. He's like, "I went right through." He's all right. And then we were like, "But that's fucked up." He's just like, "Well, what do you expect? Look at the way you look." And I was like, "That you're defending them for shooting us?" And he was just like, "Well, you know."
How crazy did you guys look?
Not, crew cuts, bleach blonde hair, like stupid, like dickhead.
It's crazy what was shocking back then compared to what's really crazy now. Like, just even wearing Vans back then was shocking, or like a different color shirt, or like
creepers. Forget it.
I know.
You might as well have just asked everyone to beat your ass.
Did you have any like? What were like your aspirations when you wanted to leave high school? What did you?
Zero.
Nothing about music either. Don't play music or anything.
No, I had no aspirations to do music ever.
Just gonna have a job, get a family, just be like.
I didn't know. I was already vegetarian.
Yep.
And I worked at a health food store after that. I mean, the band was cool because we were already doing the band, and I thought like.
That's right.
Okay, like this is cool, but even the band, like, I never wanted to play music. I was out of spite. Remember Gus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gus was. We were walking. We just had met Walter. He had just moved to Astoria.
Did you meet Arthur in like a school in Long Island or something?
No, we went to school together.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And he was the other punk guy. Or there's like 5 or 6 of us that went to like hardcore punk. But Arthur was one of them. And he was in like, but he was like, he I don't know how he survived it either. That's a fucking school because he's not like a mean person.
No.
You have to be a mean person to survive high school, I think, in that era. But he would just laugh everything off. And he was in band. And he played bass and guitar. And he was like a music guy at least. So he survived. But I met Walter. He moved from Ohio, and he moved to Astoria, and he met Arthur and those guys. And they brought him around one night. And we were like hanging out on Northern Boulevard. And we were at Burger King. Right, and it actually wound up right where we lived.
Wow. Okay.
And we were having fucking some shit over there, and he was like, I play guitar. I got, I want to write some songs. I'm gonna start a band. And it was like the first night we met. I think we just got along, and and then he was like, "You want to sing?" And before I could even say anything, Gus was like, "I'll sing," and that was enough to trigger my assholeness. And I just was like, I fucking asked you.
Yeah.
I'll sing.
Yeah.
And he's like, you don't want to sing? I said, no, but now I do because you just tried to jump my shit. So I'm going to sing out of spite. And I was like, yeah, man, I'll sing. And
you never sang before in anything?
Nah, I sing Journey in the shower like a motherfucker.
Sick.
I could sing high. But that was, that was the birth of it. And then we just did like garage band stuff with some like neighborhood guys. Ernie helped us a bunch because he would, he liked Minions and he liked music, and he was into like having like, younger like brother band kind of things, or people to play with. But yeah, he would sit in on drums and like help with like arranging songs and give us tips and hype us up.
Yeah. And like, what was like your inspirations for singing at that point? Just you just got asked to do it.
Just none. The first couple of things I didn't even understand that you couldn't like the song was going, and I would just fuck up and just start right back from the beginning, and they'd be like, "Hey man, you got to catch up and start singing again where you should be." And I was like, "What?" I would face the wall. I'm not really.
Even your first
consider myself
live, you wouldn't face the crowd, or no?
No, I faced the crowd then, but in the garage, it was like it took me a few practices to turn around.
Yeah, I
wasn't ever. I don't think really consider myself musical.
I love in those first recordings, even with your voice, it cracks. It just is something about it. This, I don't know. I love that shit.
I think it was just trying to. We were just trying to. I didn't know anything. I didn't know who I was trying to sound like, or I wasn't trying. I was just singing. It was just my voice, but it was just trying to push it.
Yeah.
And then it would crack, and I would just go whatever. And then people would say, "Oh, that sounds cool. Like your voice cracked." And I was like, "Yeah, because it hit the limit."
Yeah.
And that's it.
But I mean, when you guys came out with that for the first 7, it was definitely like a breath of fresh air, I think, for what was happening in New York hardcore with all the sounds and even just the name of your band, just what you guys represented. And it wasn't a preachy band, it wasn't a tough band, it wasn't this. It was just your own thing.
I mean,
fun.
It's
fun.
weird. It's weird when people talk about it, like what it meant or what it seemed, because you're in it.
Totally.
Or it's like, what did you guys think was going to happen? And I was like, I didn't think anything. I was just thinking, we were thinking day by day, get through the day. And we had aspirations like, I'd be like, yo, you think we're going to do a demo tape? And they'd be like, and Walter would be like, fuck yeah, we're going to do a demo tape. And but that meant you could play CBs.
Okay.
And we sold them at some records.
It's like almost like the audition to get into CBs. You have to have something out.
You have to have, well, if you played and 10 people were singing along, or 5 of your friends knew the words, like that was pretty huge.
Good, yeah.
And then if you were really balling, you were going to get a 7-inch. And then if you that meant you could play like, a bigger club like the Ritz or something. It's like an opening band. Yeah. And then if you had a 12-inch, forget it. That was like the Academy Award. You made it. You were done.
What was the first show you went to? Remember your first punk show?
It was a band. We went for Danny Zick's birthday. I think it was his like 16th birthday. And we went to CB's, and we thought it was 24-hour slam dancing at CB's. But we went at night, and the chairs were up and the tables were up.
Wow.
And it was like these fucking Navy guys there with like studded gauntlets on their wrists and stuff.
What?
And they had makeup on, and we were like, if these guys fucking start slamming, like we're gonna slam. We're gonna slam the shit out of these guys.
Night.
And there was a band called Wolf'n Cookies. And yeah, we went the wrong night. We didn't know. Damn. But there was no internet. There was no information. And this is before we met Anthony.
Okay.
But I think one of the first shows we went to was AF. And I don't even know if that one we walked into because we were so fucking scared. We walked down Bleecker, and you could see CB's from Bleecker. Yeah. And we were like 2 or 3 blocks away, and you could see a crowd outside on the street. And it was like all fun and games and punk until we got about a block away and we saw everybody. And I was just like, I don't know if I could do this. So we got to the corner where the deli was, and some dude, I can't remember who the guy was, but he like ran out in the street laughing like a skinhead, no shirt on, like flipping somebody off. And then Alexa came out with a half drunk bottle, like 40. And she ran into the street and just threw this fucking 40 at him as hard as she could. Wow. Like, traffic, just people. Yeah. And he ducked and it smashed on the floor, and she was like screaming, and I was like, fuck this. These girls can kick my ass. Like,
get me
this
out
girl
of here.
just threw a fucking 40. I was just like, I don't think. So I think we like leaned against the wall near CB's like that first time, and it took like a day or two, a couple of visits to go inside. Yeah. And we met other nerds that didn't know anybody, and like they kind of like rolled up like, your first time here, and we were like, yeah. You staying with you guys? Yeah, staying with us.
Walking with us.
Yeah, coming with us.
We know the people not to like look at or bump into or.
Yeah, I mean, this is when
characters, bro.
You'd go there and like Billy Psycho's there, you know what I mean, and like Wrecking Machine and Rabies and.
He's just tatted up with shaved heads, all that stuff.
But yeah, with fucking white pride on the back of his arms, and like everyone's got tattoos. Not everybody, but like just a couple of tattoos were crazy. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're fucking look ridiculous now, but I mean, back then, like I remember Timmy Chunks had like 4 tattoos, and we were like, "Yo, this guy's out of control. He's got to calm down." He
did have some old school ones. Remember that?
Yeah, he had
like some wizard.
He had the wizard skating. He had a wizard doing a hand plant.
Yeah, he was probably going to Peter Tattoo or something before us or something like that.
He went to Marguerite.
Damn, Marguerite, yeah.
Marguerite crushed it on him. He had some, and Jay Crackdown had Genghis Khan riding like a Frazetta painting.
Really?
He had Genghis Khan like in the clouds, like riding a horse with like a battle axe or sword on the middle of his chest.
Damn, that was like the style back then, like the crazy kind of wizardry and dragons and stuff.
And Harley's chess piece is completely insane.
Were you doing art in school, like writing and drawing and stuff like that? Yeah,
I used to graffiti started, and then it was like just drawing, bullshit, copying stuff. But no, I never went to art school or anything. I had this neighbor, and he was I don't know what the politically correct thing is, a little person. He was. Okay. And he was it was a Colombian family, lived next door, and he was this amazing artist. And he, would talk to me about art, and we'd draw, and I'd show him drawings, and he was super like hyped up on it. And he came over one night, and you got to picture my parents in the kitchen with Freddie, the Colombian little person, hyping it up so that I could go to art school.
Oh wow.
And they were like, yeah, okay. And he was like, I can help him get a portfolio together. And this is like for art high school.
Believed in you.
He did. He was one of my first champions, Freddie. And he left. And I was like, you guys serious? Like I can? And they were like, no, you can't fucking go to art school. You're just gonna go to school down the street like everybody else. Get the fuck out of here.
Damn.
So I was like, that was cool. I believed it. Because they were selling it to Freddie, so I was like, all right, I'm going to go to art school. But I didn't.
So you put your first demo tape out, and then were you guys playing a bunch of shows before you dropped the demo? Like the first?
No, our first show was James Newberry's, who actually was in the house with us.
Remember James, yeah.
James, he had a birthday party in the bottom of his apartment building, in the basement of his apartment building.
Damn.
And Danny Doyle was there, Timmy Shafalis, Gus, Danny, and then the word got out, and we wound up getting Lou Sick of It All, Devil, and Mike Schmegma came.
Wow.
and bar brand. I think Anthony was probably there. Probably had like 4 or 5 songs, and we set up in a basement, and our 5 of our friends were like slam dancing, and that was our first show.
Like 86 or 87?
86.
Wow.
And then I think 86, and then Token Entry did an 86 tour, but it was not really a tour. It was sort of like they just drove across the country and tried to like find things to do. And they made it to California. I got a burp from my Liquid Death drink.
Okay,
I just did a commercial.
Thank you for the commercial.
I just did a free commercial. Liquid
Burping
Death.
out your Crossroads kitchen.
Crossroad, yo. This shout out to Tal.
Thank you, Tal.
10 things to gluten-free food from Tal, and I'm drinking Liquid Death, and I'm burping like a motherfucker. I haven't started farting yet, so we're good.
It's okay.
But, yeah, so we played our first show. We got a call from Ernie. They were traveling back, and they booked a show at CB's, a matinee with JFA.
Damn.
And they put on their other brother band. Johnny Steigerwald's brother had a band, a sorry band called the New York Hoods.
Yep.
And then they put us on to open. And we had to we had to come up with a name to put on the flyer for the Village Voice flyer that they did, those black and white long flyers.
Yes.
And we didn't know what to call the band. And we were sitting on like a stoop in Astoria. And I said, Gorilla Biscuits. But that's what we used to call Quaaludes, Lemon 714s. And everybody laughed and said, okay. And then it was like, oh, we could always change it. It's just for the, flyer.
Yeah.
I wish I said something cooler.
So that's what they call them in the neighborhood? That was like the name of a certain kind
yeah,
of
they were so big. This is when, like, back when my brother was, doing his thing, they were still able to get those.
Okay.
Because they were like prescription. They were big pills, and they said Lemon 714 on them. Wow. And they nicknamed them Gorilla Biscuits.
Wow.
But
it
yeah,
just worked.
Sometimes when like a civilian, like a normal adult asks me a
in
name,
this life, yeah,
and like a parent at school, like my private school parents, like, oh, I heard you play in a band. And I'm like, not really. I do, but it's you wouldn't like it.
It's punk rock.
You don't want to. Don't ask me the name.
Please don't ask me the name.
And then they Google you, and then they Google it when you're standing there, and you're like, fucking kill me. But yeah,
unless it's Limp Bizkit, then
I'm like, the guy from Limp Bizkit likes it.
It is weird, like you're civilian, like trying to tell your parents what you do, or I do this music, and yeah, it's interesting.
Both my options are embarrassing for people like finance. I'm like sitting here with like finance people at bankers, and I'm like, I'm a tattooer and I play in a band, and they're just like, really? That's cool. And I'm like, I guess you guys don't think this is cool, but they actually, some of them do.
They do. I think a lot of people not the grass isn't always green, but you see, I never like to do that type of life, like not a 9 to 5 or whatever.
We actually had this. When our daughter went to school, it was much different than when my older daughter went to school, and the parents were cooler. And we made friends with this woman that was doing like an art thing, and she came over and she was like, yeah, I want to be friends with the cool parents. And we were like, who are the cool parents? and she's like, you guys. And my wife's like, we're the cool parents? I'm like, all right, well, fucking take it. Yeah, we're cool.
That is cool. Yeah, like you're like the tattoo guy at the school, or
but
I used to serve food at my son's school. They call me the tattoo man and stuff.
Yeah. Mary said there was another tat dad picking up the other day, and now I feel like I got beef. Hey champ, I'm the tat dad of the school. You got to go somewhere else.
You have your tattoo.
Yeah, we can't have 2 tat dads. I'm not into it.
So you're still working when GB starts playing, though, obviously.
Yeah.
Because at the laundry, what were we doing at the laundromat after that?
How do you think we practiced? Do you think anybody else?
So when did you start tattooing? What year was that? Because I know I was a guinea pig a couple times.
You were a guinea pig many times. You loved free tattoos on Avenue B.
Avenue B in your apartment.
You, Stack, Fern, Puerto Rican Mike.
Damn.
And Kev One hung out there. Tom Conan hung out there.
Wow.
Rick to Life came through.
Dude.
Yeah, that was the deal.
Cast
it was
characters.
Like you guys get free tats forever if you really practice. And you guys were like, sold. In. Let's do it.
What year was that?
That was because I started doing that because I was working and GB broke up in 92.
That's right.
So I started tattooing out of the apartment in 92. I went to Jersey. I went to this dude Josh's house with this other dude. and I probably said dude 100 times already, so sorry about that.
It's
But
okay, dude.
thanks, dude. So I went to Jersey, and I talked to this dude. He was like a skinhead guy, and I said, hey, would you show me what's up? I remember him from shows, and I was like, he opened the door, and I was like, I kind of knew it was him, and I was like, oh, man, I think this guy's a dick. And he looked at me, and he was like, oh, this guy's a dick. Like, I know this guy.
Oh,
We both kind of looked at each other like, But I came in, we had like a mutual guy between us. And then when we became friends, I said, yo, man, why are you always staring at everybody crazy, like at shows? He's like, I don't stare at you. I said, you're like scowling, making faces, looking at everybody hard. You're like a skinny guy. And he's like, no, man, I just can't see. I need glasses. I said, you should get fucking glasses, man, because like someone's going to punch you in the face.
Wow.
And he was like, really? I said, yeah. Everyone thinks you're a complete asshole. Everybody thinks you're like looking hard at everybody. And he's like, fuck, all right, I'm going to get glasses. But he showed me how to set up a machine. And he said, draw something, tattoo yourself here. I'll tattoo you, and we'll see where it goes.
Wow.
So I did that. And that's always the test, like tattoo yourself. And I was like, I don't care. So I tattooed myself.
Were you thinking about it before GB was going to break up?
I had getting tattooed already.
Yeah.
And I thought I could step into those shoes, and I thought I could be good at it.
Yeah.
But I never thought that hard about it until my life has always been like saying yes at the right time. Saying yes at the right time and the power of no is two things I like to live by, and spite. But power of yes is real. And so when I got offered to go and watch this guy tattoo, because it was underground. There was no shops in any of the boroughs. It was illegal in New York.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that didn't change until 96 or 7, I think. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go to Jersey. So I went. I remember Henry Rollins was on Dennis Miller that night.
Okay.
That was the exact night that I went to learn how to tattoo the first time. So, yeah, he taught me, and then I went back to my apartment. And one of Mike Madrid's friends, like a Sloth Crew kind of offshoot guy from California, his name was Archuleta or Archie. He got my number, and he called me on like my landline. I had this pink landline, and he was like, hey, I'm friends with this dude and this dude. Like, I want to get tattooed. And I said, I know a dude. I know a guy in Jersey. And he was just like, no, I want you to do it. And I said, I don't know how to tattoo, man. I tattooed myself like yesterday.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't care. I trust you. He was like a hardcore guy.
Damn.
So I tried to like talk him out of it. And I said, all right, hang on, man. Give me a number. I wrote it like on a piece of paper on the wall or something. I called Josh. I said, this guy wants me to tattoo him. And he was like, you don't know how to tattoo. I said, I told him. He don't care. And he paused and he said, you know what? Fuck it. You got to practice on somebody. All right. So
Damn.
we went. Me and Archie met up. We went. And I did this. He asked me to draw like a tribal, like Thunderbird kind of thing.
Sick.
I drew it. Filled the whole thing in with like a liner. Probably took like 3 fucking hours. But he became a tattooer. And I would see him at the Queen Mary convention, and every year he'd come up behind me and go, can you touch this up? I wouldn't even turn around. I said, that thing's solid, man. And I turned around to be him. He's like, it is solid. So
It was pretty solid?
Yeah, we never touched it up. And
Wow.
I have pictures of it somewhere, but that was my first one.
And then, what's your first tat? Was it Gorilla Biscuits?
My first one was the Gorilla from the 7-inch.
And who did that? Was that Cindy?
Cindy.
Shout out to Cindy, man. She's still killing it. It's awesome, man.
Yes.
Pure tattoo.
She's in Ohio now. I think she's in Cleveland.
Yeah, she had a bunch of the Alleyway Dragons. Just a bunch of stuff we got back then.
She killed it. Yeah.
I wonder who drew my gorilla. I thought
that was Bevan, I think.
Bevan, that's right.
Barbara Ann's boyfriend at the time.
Wow, okay.
Bevan.
I was trying to figure that out because Tim Singer had just posted a picture of this the other day and tagged me in the original drawing of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
that's weird.
Okay,
He had Tim Singer had the original drawing.
Yeah.
We just actually reconnected. He was cut off for me for years.
Okay, I reconnected him on social media. Yeah.
We had beef for a while, and then we actually talked the other day. Like
Nice.
DM'd.
Okay.
I know. So I let a grudge go. How about that? Imagine that shit. I'm getting very mature.
Do you hold a lot of grudges in your life?
I love grudges.
What do you like about them?
A warm and fuzzy feeling they give you. Well, you don't. There's no gray area. It's black or white. You're just like, nope, that guy. I'm done with that person.
You cut him off like that.
Not really. I don't hold too many. Only if it's like necessary.
But it's easy to cut people off. and shut them out?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I'll do it if I have to, if it's funny.
I think you're more of a ball breaker than a grudge holder.
Yeah. I'm more just...
You've always broken balls. You're really good at breaking balls.
I'm good at breaking balls, but it really does come from somewhere where I'm just like, I'd like to just tell you to fucking fuck off, but I can't, so I just break your balls.
Because you do care. Deep down inside.
Yeah, I care. You don't have to take this podcast to make me look like a normal, nice person, though.
No, I'm not.
I'll get Moon in here and she'll tell the truth.
How much? Remember the time you loaned me money? It was like a couple $100.
No.
You loaned me like $200 or $300 one time, and then I didn't. And then Moon helped me pay it back to you for like a year or something later. But you broke my balls about it. But I paid you back, so thank you for that. It was
well, Moon probably paid me back. You lying motherfucker.
No, she helped me pay you back.
Yeah, she helped you by paying the debt.
I remember I worked at the recording studio where Mark Siegas.
You worked at...
yeah, I would like...
Wait, I'm going to remember the name of it. Bell Studios.
Bell Studios, where you would rehearse and Youth of Today, and other bands would come in there. Bad Trip. Yeah. And I would do all the times. Let me book all the time sessions.
So
and
funny.
Shit.
Yeah, that was kind of close to where we lived, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The GB house was sick, too. Like, for the listeners, somehow I went from Timmy Chunk's house to Arthur's house with his dad and sister into the GB house with you, Alan Cage, and Walter. I lived in the closet.
Well, I remember we met at a show at the Anthrax, I think, and we drove you home.
Okay.
And Toby was even more emotional then than he is now. He's very sensitive. And he moved to Astoria with Timmy Chunks, and he was like, "Oh man, they're doing drugs and smoking pot. I'm straight edge, they're drinking. I can't live there, man. I can't even sleep." And you had like a bag of clothes and like your skate trophies. That's what Toby moved to New York with. Like a bag of clothes and skate trophies. And we were like, "You brought your skate trophies?" "Yeah, man, I won them. County. Jenny." But
I did. I left him, so I never found him after that.
Yeah, you remember me and you in the back seat? And this is how we bonded. He was crying about his ex-girlfriend in the county in the back seat of somebody's car driving home. We were like, "All right, man, stop crying. Just you can live with us."
And all my Thrasher magazines, I left him at Dave Stein's house.
You lost some stuff quick.
I had all my Thrasher magazines. I never got it back after that.
Yeah.
It's fucking whack. But the GB house was sick. Like, it was just so fun living there, and just like we had weights in Alan's room and Murder King. And
Toby, we were trying to be like strong, and we listened to Metallica, like Ride the Lightning, and we lift weights, and we had no weight locks on the locks, and Toby would do it as hard as he could. Then the weights fell off one side, and he put the entire bar through the fucking wall with the weights on it. That's right. It dragged down like 4 feet. When I left the apartment, the guy came to do a walkthrough, and I put a stand-up mirror against that hole.
You actually did that, yeah.
And we fucked that apartment up, and I hid everything. We had like cigarette burns in the rugs from a party. I put like suitcases over it. The mirrors were broken in the bathroom. I slid them over each other.
How long did we live there for, you think?
I think it was only a year.
It just seemed like forever. It's just so much.
A year.
Tons of bands were staying there. Chain of Strength, Bleacher in the hair there. Just crazy people running through that house, man.
Yeah, there was a lot of shit going on. It was every night there was something going on.
I think I must have worked like in the city at that point. Oh yeah, Myers Research Center with Arthur Similios as their inner office coordinator. Wow, I would buy staples and Post-its.
Myers Research.
This guy Austin. Yeah, we had a whole crew over there. It was by 40th Street. That was my first real job working in Manhattan with Arthur.
That's big time. Did you have to wear like a tie or a button-down
shirt?
No,
not really.
Like whatever.
And I think you were at the health food store at that point. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think probably. Yeah, when I was working there, I think Alan Cage worked at Prana he worked at Prana.
Dude, Prana. Everybody worked there. We got laced up going there, man.
And then when I worked at Down to Earth, it was like you guys are gonna go broke. Everybody.
Did Purcell work there too? Or was that a different place?
He did for a little while. Walter worked there for like a day.
Oh yeah.
Walter, I got a job at the juice bar, and the dude from the Warriors showed up.
What? From the movie?
Yeah, the little dude. And Walter put on 4 plastic cups on his fingers, and the guy was like waiting to order a juice, and he turns around, and he's like, ring, 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 and he's like, "Warriors, come up to play."
What did the guy do?
Turned around, walked out.
Oh, shit.
And it was like, "Oh, it's being funny." And it was like, I can't do that shit. And then years later, like 20 years later, I was in a Whole Foods in L.A., and that dude was there.
Really?
And I said, "Yo, man, I used to work at Down to Earth on
you told me 7th
Street." No, I didn't know. 'Cause I figured he would just walked away from me. I just said, you used to come in and get juice at Down to Earth at 7th Street. I used to work there as a juice bar guy. And he was just like, oh, shit, I did. Blah, blah, blah. And I said, I love your work too, man. And it was like some Dreamscape. And then I said, The Warrior is my favorite movie. And he was like, thank you. And
Oh, that's cool. You made it all good.
Yeah, I tried to be normal.
Which guy was it from the movie?
The dude who shot fucking Cyrus.
He shot Cyrus, man. Oh,
that
yeah.
Dude.
That's such a hard movie.
No, best movie ever. That and the Wanderers that's how I wanted life to be. The Warriors and the Wanderers.
Was there a time in New York, remember, we had the Warriors vibe, like with the subways and all that stuff? Like super graffitied up.
We used to have this thing. There was this ritual at my grammar school. This one public school would come down at the end of the school year, and they would just all the guys in their like 8th grade or like 9th grade. They had like a middle school, went to 9th grade. They would come down and just fight the 8th graders in our boat, like fucked up, like chains. It was like organized. People were, like, it was fucked up. Damn. And it was like they would early dismissal all the little kids, and then it was like a rite of getting out of school. In 8th grade, you had to fight this other school. It was fucking guys would bring bats to school and shit, and the teachers were just cops. It was like, it was fucking 100 kids.
Wow.
So it was wild.
Fuck.
But yeah, there was still gangs in the 70s in New York and 80s. But
it's crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
When I moved there too, that was 88. It was still pretty crazy, the Bowery and all that stuff. And just,
80s was still crazy.
So the 70s comes out in 88 with High Hopes, Big Mouth, No Reason Why, all these amazing songs on it. At that point, are you guys playing out of the city and playing like tri-state area stuff when the 70s comes out?
We would do like Oliver J's, and we'd play like in Jersey. We'd play the Anthrax. We'd play like Pennsylvania.
What's the place in Pennsylvania, man, with like
the skate ramp place?
Yeah.
That dude was crazy. I know the name of it. I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, no skinheads allowed here. I forget what it's called. The name of the spot.
Yeah, he was like a hippie.
And there was crazy fights sometimes. The Nazis would come. Yeah, I forget what it's called though.
Wally's Place.
Wally's Place.
Yeah, I took it. Had to find it.
That was like the shit back then.
Yeah, that was a wild place. But
Anthrax, obviously.
Yeah, and we would just, we'd show up sometimes. Dave Stein put some shows on in Albany. We'd go Buffalo, Albany style, Warzone Women.
So cool shows.
Yeah, we would road trip with everybody. We just all pile into a van and just figure it out.
But even then, you guys were kids. You just make your music. You play on the weekends. You're having fun. You're not thinking about we're gonna make money. This is gonna be a career.
No, never. Then we didn't probably start getting paid until I don't know when. Like, and we'd play the Anthrax. It'd be like a sign inside sold out, and we'd fucking we'd go to get paid at the end. The guy would be like, wasn't that full? And I was like, bro, it said sold out. And he was just like, that wasn't for this show. I give you $250.
Wow.
And we'd be like, and it was like $5 a head, but it was 1,000 fucking people in there, or 800 people in there, whatever it was. Dude. And we'd be like, fucking $250. Yes. So
that's a big deal back then.
Oh, it's huge.
Wow.
Huge money. But you were just playing for cred and to be cool and just it was just
and just have fun.
Pecking order, or just it was about glory. It was about people playing that show. I mean, I remember people listening to people like talk and just being bummed out. Like there was even like a little subculture-y kind of a thing where it was like more like metal dudes got into hardcore just because hardcore guys played shows. You couldn't play a metal show.
Oh, it's harder to play. Yeah.
You could play a hardcore show.
Gotcha.
So they were like, that was their stepping stone to get.
Gorilla Morse or something to be a metal band.
Eventually, yeah.
And so, how's your nap, Adam?
Good, man.
Good.
Now we're going to the venue.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you later. I'll cut this out of the podcast. Bye, guys. You with the Max too? Okay, bye, guys. Everything good?
Just texted Mary back.
We can cut this shit out too.
I don't care.
And then Start Today. So building up to Start Today, when you record that record, you're just making your first full-length album. There's like no pressure. There's no nothing. You're just making a record with your friends.
I think there was more pressure doing like I think the 7-inch at Don Fury's or the demo tape. I think it was a 7-inch. I remember like we had to pay for it. I was like the only one with a job, but we had pulled some money, and I wasn't musical, and I remember like fucking up a couple of takes, and Walter just coming in the room like, you gotta fucking get this, man. Like, we got fucking, there's $15 left. And fucking, you gotta do this fucking right, man. And that was like more pressure when it
Yeah,
was like that kind of
fuck.
shit. But yeah, doing the record, we had, Rev, and we had time, and it was more fun. I think I felt more pressure doing like weird shit. I remember like we had when we did CIV, we got a commercial for like Crayola crayons,
Mhm.
and they wanted to change the lyrics, and I had to sing what they sent me.
Ooh.
But the person from Crayola was listening in, like a hype man for them was listening in, and then like some other woman who was like the art director was listening in on like while I was singing
That's weird.
at the headphones on.
That's crazy.
And Sammy and Charlie are like shaking their heads with their fingers crossed because they're talking to me through my cans, and they're like, "What about this? What about a little bit more of this?" And the guy's like, "What a little bit more New York attitude?" And I'm like, "I'll give you some fucking attitude." He's like, "Whoa, there's some women on the line, buddy. Like, watch the language." And I was like, "Oh my god, yeah."
Yeah,
But-
that feels weird. Yeah.
But that was like, because you're looking at your friends, and they're there's like tens of thousands of dollars for each of them on the line if you fuck up this commercial.
Yeah.
But in my gut instinct is to say fuck you and walk out, because I don't want to have to answer to some asshole I don't know,
Yeah.
because I'm stupid that way. But
Damn.
but yeah, nailed it. I'm a professional. got the deal.
But when the Start Today comes out, I feel like the impacts become even bigger. Here we are, 2023, from when it came out in 1998. Just throughout the years, different generations of people that found this record and loved this record. Because when it came out, it was a big deal as well. But I feel like even now, it seems like obviously these shows are bigger than they were when it came out.
Well, I couldn't. The thing is, Jordan got the record out late. I
remember that.
We planned the U.S. tour in '89, and the record was supposed to be out. And Jordan is, the best, but back in those days, he was not punctual.
Yeah.
So he was more like, you'd say like, he should have been like more of like a Native American in like the early 1800s. Like, I will visit you on the third moon of the second season, and you're like, okay. Look to
See you
me,
then.
yeah, like Gandalf. Look to me in the north, and I'll be coming over the ridge. There was no real timelines, and so we were supposed to have this record out, and it came out like 3 days or 4 days before the end of our tour, and we played Buffalo with the record out for like 2 days, and I was so pissed because it was the best. Everybody knew the words.
Damn.
Everybody had the record, and it was like the show was huge, and it was sick. And I was like, why? Because we suffered across the United States on a 7-inch.
Yeah.
But then the crazy thing is, we went to Europe, and then we never toured the States again.
I remember Europe was like 91, right?
Yeah, and then we broke up. So
Damn.
So when we got back together, we played rabies benefit at CB's.
Yeah, remember that?
And then when CB's was closing, I got a call. And it was like 2005. I had already been tattooing forever. And I had already done CIV stuff. And so, Walter and I had worked on stuff together, but we hadn't been playing together. And then in 2005, CB's called, and they were like, listen, we're trying to fight this. Probably going to lose, but we want to do a month of shows every night. We want you guys to do a matinee. So I called Wally, and I was just like, listen, I don't think we're going to fucking save CB's, but if we play and some good comes of it, great.
Yeah.
But if we don't try to help, it's fucked up, because the place gave us like our existence when we were kids. So he was like, no, totally, we should do it. So we called the dudes, called Alex, called Arthur, Luke, we hadn't seen each other in a long time. And they all came up to, I at the time I had a little bungalow in Westchester, and we went swimming and like had a barbecue and reconnected, and we practiced for like a week. And we were at practice in like the city, and somebody called someone's phone, and they were like, there's a line around the block. It was like Saturday night, and they were like, there's a line all the way around the block to like Bowery and around, like at CB's right now. And we were like, for what? And they were like, for tomorrow, for the show, people are camped out tonight to get in.
Wow.
So we drove by and we were like, holy shit, like
That's
this is sick. It's cool,
Damn.
And then we got there and people were like, I fucking flew from Japan or I came from Brazil. I was like, are you guys fucking crazy? I wouldn't walk around the block to see this. But so we made sure everybody got in. And that was like one of the first shows I ever played where like, people say things like there's electricity in the air, like you can feel it. That's how it felt. Like it was everybody's
Magical.
energy. Yeah, it was so much energy in the room that you could feel it like in the air. It was like the moisture in the room was like electric. And it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then after that, we were like, okay, maybe we should really do this because there's, at that point, almost 20 years of
Crazy, man.
of people, two generations of people who were fans of the band that never saw us play.
Yeah.
So then we did a 2006 tour of the United States, very DIY. And, we took out bands that, promoters and friends and people that were like, oh, you got to bring, like, Terra. And they were like a new band. It was like, okay, bring Terra out with you. Bring Comeback Kid with you.
Comeback Kid was going to say that, yeah.
A bunch of, like, bands that were up and coming kind of a thing. Same thing, we get to do now, but
Totally.
now these bands are playing, these new bands, hardcore's so huge right now, they're playing their own 500 fucking cap rooms. And
Yeah,
so
or bigger, yeah.
Or bigger, yeah.
Yeah.
Like new bands are playing huge rooms. So we don't have to be like the guys, oh, come and play and you'll play in front of a bunch of people. They're playing their own big shows. So it's pretty fucking sick. Hardcore's huge right now.
It's crazy, man. It's unreal to watch it like the whole country.
I never thought it would come back the way it did.
So diverse, so many different styles, the way people look, their sounds. It's like not just one style.
Yeah, we were talking about it in the car. Like it's not just like white boys shit. It's not just guy stuff. There's so many girl-fronted bands now.
It's cool, man.
So many young kids again. So.
Yeah, especially living in California. I know it's big in the East too, but some of the shows I go to, I hear it's just different record stores and spots. It's packed.
Yeah,
the crowd's amazing. It's like,
but like Rhode Island, sick. Baltimore, sick. Detroit,
sick. Baltimore, sick.
Yeah. Ended sick.
I'm gonna go back to the '91 that live video too, where you play a song called "Distance." It never gets released, which is an incredible song. But also you can see just how everybody looks, their styles. Even with you with your creepers on, you can see what's going to happen next if you really know now and what happened next. Like Quicksand's going to happen, Civ's going to happen. It's just this watching just how everybody looked there was interesting.
90s was an ugly time for fashion. I think early 90s, like our cool our cool hardcore looks were going out the window because we were getting older and we were trying to like figure out. I don't know. I think like in the 80s we didn't try to figure it out. It just was natural. But I think we were trying to. And plus, like, there was a hip hop influence again in the 90s, more like, not like Run DMC, but like more like a De La Soul kind of a vibe.
Oh, yeah.
And that
Native
was
tongues.
Influencing, the way people dressed and acted. And there's more. We were going out to like clubs and like city stuff, and we were older. And like, I think nobody in the band except me was like straight edge at that point. So there was like, drug experimentation going on.
Yeah.
And new bands wanted to happen.
And Purcell with the long hair, just like this, everybody looked so different at that time.
Yeah.
It was a turning point.
God, I just looked at a picture from us in Europe. I looked like a Lane Staley clown. Purcell had like a long ponytail and a fanny pack and like a sweatshirt tucked into like sweatpants.
Wow.
Tom Capone was into like the Satanic Bible and like leather jacket. Walter had like flower stickers, like Scooby-Doo flowers on his guitar and like long hair. It was an
interesting time.
Yeah. Samuel was like he had on like, I don't know, Ralph Lauren kind of like pants and vibes. And he was like, he was like sexy.
He had his hair and
he was like a sexy, like go out kind of like guy.
So that was probably one of the last shows maybe recorded for you guys before you broke up.
Yeah. And that show was
insane show, by the way. Incredible show.
It was just, but that show kind of sucked because for me, because we were like psyched up on it, and we were playing in the top 3 slots with these like 2 other amazing bands that we're friends with, and we're still, I don't know, still hardcore kids. Like the fact that I even am friends with Roger or like John Joseph is a fucking trip.
Yeah.
Or like I have fucking their phone numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's so
man.
strange.
Jimmy G, everybody.
Yeah, Jimmy, Vinny. But when you're like up in the same like batting rotation as these guys, it's a trip. But Chris Williamson, Sick of It All went over. Like they were allotted 30 minutes. They did like 40 minutes.
Okay.
So he was like, "You got 15 minutes to play." Roger said he doesn't want to play past 10 o'clock. And the curtains were like opening, and I was like, "Fuck that! We got like a half hour." And Chris Williamson was a fucking nightmare for all of New York hardcore. He was like a 50-something-year-old mustache, like I don't know, like almost like a Jerry curl hair,
but like almost like a promoter from throwback from the 70s or 80s,
yeah.
right? Like
But like kind of jacked and scary and drugged out.
Yeah.
And he was like, so he was nose to nose with me as I'm standing on stage as the curtains open. He's screaming at me, "Your fucking friends fucked you. You got 15 minutes. I'll pull the fucking curtain. I'll shut the fucking lights off." And I was like, cool. Gonna have a great show now. Thanks, man. Spit all over my face from him.
Thanks, bud. Yeah.
Thanks, bud. Let me just play fucking 5 songs and be out. So
was that going playing that show? Did you guys realize it might be the last show, or just everybody?
No, I think we were just, that was like kind of like I think we still like, I think we were all kind of like confused at what the fuck was going on, but we still had some energy behind it where we were like, all right, we're playing a big show.
Yeah.
Maybe this can work out. I mean, at least for me, I think Walter had aspirations even earlier on than that to do other things. I never really, like I said, I was never musical or gave a shit. I was like, okay, my band's cool and that's enough for me. But then after that, I think we played our last show at the Marquee, but we knew it was going to be the last show.
And we was at that one. I figured I played that one.
Yeah. I don't know.
There were some crazy ones at the Marquee.
Yeah.
But you were tattooing at that point anyway, right?
I had just started.
Yeah.
Like I think I was like tattooing a few weeks, and I did the last show, and that was the saving grace for like my mental stability, and like it's hard to go back to being normal after you have a non-normal existence.
Yes. The balance of that.
Like I worked. I've always worked. I worked my ass off, but I could never go work for somebody or do a normal job.
Your own boss. Yeah,
I've been independent my whole life.
Yes.
But I've always hustled. But I just think, once you go through that, it's like, how am I going to get a fucking job? How am I going to be normal or listen to somebody or have, be told what time to show up or something? I could set my own schedule because I choose to do it.
Yeah. And were you working at a shop at that point or about to be at a shop?
I think I was still working. Well, I didn't even want to work in a shop. I was fucking killing it on the Lower East Side in my mind. I was making like $30 an hour. I was on unemployment. There was girls sleeping over and like everybody was hanging. My house just became like a hangout.
Damn.
But the only thing, what actually changed it was that the house became a hangout. I had Jimmy as my roommate.
Yep.
And people started to know what buzzer it was and what floor I was on. So it'd be like 3 a.m. and, guy would ring the fucking bell. And it was like a friend of somebody.
Damn.
And I think Puerto Rican Mike brought up, he brought this dude up. He always had fucking sketchy friends.
You mean Spanish Mike?
Spanish Mike, yeah. We used to call him Puerto Rican Mike, but he's Spanish Mike, but not the other Puerto Rican Mike.
Okay, different one.
Not the Puerto Rican Mike that we know now, but Spanish Mike or Contra Mike.
Okay.
Sick of It All Mike. He was always in the mix, and he brought this dude over, and his name was Panchy, the Buck Wildin' Comanche.
Wow.
And he was like, he wanted that written on him. And he's like, I want like a brother with like chuckers on. And I was like, I don't know what that is. And he's like, show me his he wants his pants like this, his shoes like this. I'm like, okay. He's like, he's got to have a Tech 9 in his hand. I said, I don't know what a Tech 9 looks like. And he pulls out a Tech 9.
Holy shit.
Puts it on the bed. And I was like, cool. Okay.
Jesus.
And then so then like his kind of got a crew of guys started to know where I was, and some other people. And then one night I came out, I was tattooing, and somebody was letting people in, and there was like 4 dudes on my couch watching cartoons, smoking blunts, and eating cereal. Like,
oh man.
and I was like, guys, you know, there's like, and there's guns all, like on the tables and shit. And I was just like, hey, you know, you guys have to leave.
Time to break it up.
Yeah. Everybody take the cereal box with you. You can have the Fruit Loops. It's all good. But it just became, okay, this isn't pro and this isn't cool. So I had a guy who I bought supplies from. He turned me on to a shop in Long Island that needed somebody. And I bit the bullet and I took the railroad to Long Island, Suffolk County.
What was the first shop?
Cliff's Tattoo.
Cliff's Tattoo.
I worked there in 93. So I did 92 to 93 out of my apartment.
Crazy,
and then 93
man.
I worked at Cliff's. Yeah, you guys
Always out there, man.
always out there. Beware, Isaac, Deep.
Deep
Rest
in
in peace.
Yeah, man.
I
haven't seen Beware in years. I wonder where Beware is at. Man.
what's
Stevie G.
Yas, rest in peace.
Yas, Stevie G.
Stevie G. I saw Stevie G not too long ago. It's like a time capsule, exactly the same.
Yeah, I think I saw a picture of him. But I don't happen to Beware, man. He was always lacing us up. He worked at the Army Navy store.
So much free clothes.
All kinds of Dickies and all.
I think I still have Dickies in the car from the basement. I literally think I still have clothes from him. He gave me so much clothes I couldn't wear them.
Dude, he would take care of all of us.
Yeah, and he would drive us.
Yeah, I got pictures of you tattooing. Oh wait, I have a picture of me and Beware somewhere, but it wasn't in your apartment, somewhere else. But you were doing the Beware on his back. That was at Lotus, I think.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, Lotus. Yeah.
Yeah, he got Beware on his back.
So crazy, man. I remember Moon lived with you for a second on 20th Street.
Mm-hmm. Moon definitely lived with me on 20. I think that was on 26th Street. 6th.
That was such a random part of town because everybody kind of lived downtown at that point, but you living like in that.
It was
area.
on the east side, so you could still like walk down to like. We'd always get free lunch at Angelica's Kitchen because people worked there.
So many people.
And then we'd go to the Asher Levy gym and go work out. And I was working out in my apartment. Yeah, Moon lived there for a little while. And she was back from Chicago.
Yeah. So you for vegetarianism, that was before I met you. You were vegetarian. I moved there in '88, right?
Yes, I went vegetarian in like '86.
And what was that? What inspired you for that?
Just the punk rock thing where you just kind of start questioning everything.
Yeah.
My Uncle Joe was a butcher. My dad was a hunter. And my friend Danny really was like, I think he was vegetarian before me, and he was on shit kind of early. And I just was like, what the why did I kill something to exist?
Yeah. Were you a heavy meat eater growing up?
Yeah, I wasn't into, like, I remember like seeing that fucking like bloody steak on the plate, and I'd have to put like butter and salt and A1 steak sauce on it and cut it small to get it down.
Jesus.
But I would eat like hot dogs like a motherfucker, or like something like that. I'd fuck up a chicken wing.
You wanted to sell hot dogs, yeah.
Yeah, Joey hot dogs.
Chicken Parmesan.
Yeah, shit like that, or like just like a barbecued like cold chicken wing with salt on it, or like a leg.
Were your parents cooking a lot at home?
My dad's good. My dad was a good cook. My grandma was a good cook. She lived with us in the basement. My mom was more like, nasty shit, like a fucking shake and bake pork chop, and then she'd throw some like soaking wet hot water spinach like right next to it, and it'd get all wet, and then like wet it, and then like some fucking mashed potatoes and the spinach juice would get on it.
Jesus.
Like, bitch, drain that.
So it was pretty easy to give up that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Once you saw the animal torture and all that stuff.
Yeah, and then like the first year I was probably like, bagels and pizza and pasta vegetarian.
Totally.
But it doesn't
same.
matter because you're like 17 and you can eat anything. You could eat a paper bag and you're fine. You're like,
it didn't matter.
Yeah, you're ripped and you feel great.
The straight carbs.
Yeah, you don't care.
Falafels, pizza, all that shit.
Even a falafel is like so exotic. I mean, I remember the first time I ate seitan with Purcell at the Whole Foods in Soho. He was like, yo, if we go after 5, it's half price. And it was like barbecue dish, like a chafing dish of like barbecue seitan. And I was just like, yo, that is that's fucking meat. I never saw seitan before.
Wow.
And he's just like piling it up in a thing with brown rice. And he's just like, you fucking stupid, it's seitan. I'm like, you're fucking stupid, that's meat. I'm not eating that shit.
Fuck.
And someone in the store was like, no, you're just stupid, that's seitan, it's wheat. And I was
Damn.
like, all right, I'm in.
What year was that?
That was probably 88, maybe. I mean, I was like tofu. Like, it was.
But nobody was saying vegan back then.
It sucked to be vegan or vegetarian back then.
But nobody's talking about vegan at that point. Really.
The first time the vegan thing came in was when I was in Europe in '89. I went to I was in England, not EU. I was in the UK, and I went to a fur-free march.
Oh shit!
And there was a vegan store, and it had like shirts. I wish I still had the shirt, and I bought a coffee mug and a shirt, and it just said. It was like sentences. It said like animals don't. Like animals don't drive cars, but they suffer because we do. Animals don't. They suffer because we do.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I was turned on to the idea of animal agriculture and like what cows go through for milk, or like what chickens go through for eggs, and become factory farming stuff. So I came back like. Okay, I'm ready to throw some paint on fur. I'm fucking ready to
hardcore militant.
Yeah, like glue some locks. I'm like, fuck. I'm into it. Now I'm not vegetarian for that. I'm vegetarian because it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Not for like I don't want to kill stuff or for health. I want this. It's just fucked up that people are killing animals, and then it escalates, and you like read some books. I mean, before documentaries, it was before like
it's crazy how now it's,
and shit. Yeah.
How now it's just like.
Now you just to go watch Cowspiracy, watch Forks Over Knives, watch this, watch that.
Everywhere you go is an option.
Oh God,
it's fucking crazy.
Touring is crazy. I just Google vegan
Happy
food,
Cow, whatever. Yeah,
vegan food in this neighborhood or this town, and it's just like boop 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 boop.
It's so crazy we have that, man.
Yeah, it's so easy now. I mean, I remember going on tour with CIV, and shit would be closed, and I remember being in the bus, man, and I was steaming a fucking head of cauliflower.
Ooh.
With salt. That all I had was like salt, and I ate that shit. One time with GB, Arthur and Walter, not Arthur, Walter and like Mark Hayworth, we were like playing this like castle in like fucking Transylvania or some shit, like a squat. Hadn't eaten in fucking days, and we ordered pizza. There was some crazy pizzeria like in the village that would deliver on like a moped to this squat castle. Fires outside, drums, dogs, guys with sticks, and we ordered they ordered me like a sauce and vegetable pie, and I couldn't believe it. Like it showed up, and I cracked it open, and it was fucking pepperoni and cheese. I literally started crying.
Damn.
I took my sneakers off and threw them into the woods. It was raining. In protest.
I'm not gonna have shoes now.
And then while crying, I had to walk in my socks through the mud at night and try to find my shoes in the woods.
That's fucking horrible torture.
Mental, and those guys are just, some of those guys are just like, oh, just throw the pepperoni on the floor and we'll just crush these cheese pizzas. It's all good.
Yeah.
Because it's starving. Oh,
I know. Fuck.
Yeah. And then everyone's just like, oh man, you're in such a bad mood all the time. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking miserable. I'm starving. Fucking being vegan sucks.
It's hard. I hope the animals appreciate us.
They don't.
I know. We're gonna pause for one time. I'm gonna take a piss with you. Hang out.
Infection.
Now we came. We came back in the pod. Yeah, we talked about you. Started like get your first job at a tattoo shop. GB had just finished up in 1991, and then we have that little gap there before like CIV forms, which I feel like set your goals could have been. The next GB record I have to start today.
A lot of people have told me that.
And it's an incredible record. And like those couple years, you weren't doing music. Was that a hard transition? Yeah, like going from being in this band just to be a tattoo artist.
Yeah, because I was, like I said, like I never really felt like a musician or like had any musical aspirations.
Yeah.
So once I started tattooing and I fell so in love with it, became so obsessed with it. And I think you have to be if you want to be good at it. And then I got into like the history of it, the collecting of it, the archiving of it, the ephemera of it, and the machines and the legacy and the history. And I felt so attached to it and protective of it. And then kind of out of fucking left field, I had the shop going for 2 years, and I was like, this is my life, this is my career, I'm going to do well at this, I'm going to make money, it's going to be a good job, it's going to be cool, I'm going to afford other people's jobs, and we're going to do it.
Coming in as a musician and not like a tattoo artist, is that kind of weird getting, not the respect, but people like taking you seriously as somebody?
Well, the two things that would happen was people who liked my tattoos assumed I sucked at music or my band sucked. And then the people who liked my band assumed my tattooing sucked.
Gotcha.
They didn't think you could do two things.
Yeah, just not true.
Reasonably well.
Yeah.
So I would, I really, in the beginning, I had a hard time with people getting tattooed because they were like hardcore people.
Yeah, and only want the GB tattoo or something.
Yeah, even I didn't do that for forever.
I remember.
I would just be like, I don't
one,
want to
thank
do
you,
that.
bud.
You're welcome. I do it every once in a while. I mean, it's when I take my own ego out of it, it's such a nice thing that people care enough to get that on their tattoo on them. It's it's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I was just happy, and I was tattooing, and everything was cool, and I had a kind of an okay partner, and the shop was good, and figuring it out. And then I got a call from Walter, and he was doing Quicksand and stuff, but he was in it for like 2 or 3 years of the music thing, where bands were starting to, punk bands like Green Day, Offspring.
Year Punk broke. I remember that.
That was happening.
94, 95.
And he was feeling it, and he was seeing things that I wasn't seeing, like publishing deals and money that was in the air that could be made,
Yeah.
Points on records or production credit for down the line, because he's a musician and he's produced stuff. So he was seeing it in his way, and I think there might have been like a little bit of a I don't think he had ever had like a guilt about breaking GB up, but and we've talked about it, like when Quicksand got back together, he was kind of hush hush about it, and I was like, dude, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm psyched. I like Quicksand. I love those first 2 records, and if we didn't break up, GB didn't break up, I would never have started tattooing. And that's been like the joy of my life.
Totally.
So I was like, thank you for doing, Quicksand and stuff. So it was like, I needed that break, and I wouldn't want to just be beating this dead horse for all these years. It's nice to take breaks and do other creative outlet things.
Were you missing playing music during those years?
No, not at all. Because I had another outlet. Like if you became a garbage man after your band broke up, you might be bummed out and miss the stage.
Yeah, you were still being creative and stuff.
Yes, and my ego is being fed. And as long as your creative ego is being fed and you're getting attention and you're making money, and it's also another thing I don't know if people realize, is that when you're in a band, it's a group setting, and if one person fucks up, you all fuck up, or if one does well, like that. So it was more like, okay, if I screw this up tattooing, it's on me. Yeah. If I do well, it's on me. So you're like a solo artist, literally. Yeah. So it's not a band. It's not a band game or band team. It's a solo thing every time you work. So I like that. I'm not a competitive person, but I am always, of course, like anybody in the arts, you're ego driven. And so then Walter was like, hey, not really into the way hardcore is going. It was a weird conversation. It was like, he's like, everything's about like hip hop or tough guy stuff or metal, and it's not hardcore. And I have these couple songs written, and I want you to sing on it. And I was like, I'm good.
Wow.
No, I was like, I don't need that shit, dude. I'm working on this. I got a shop. I have a business. I don't want to.
You were content in your life.
I was content, and it was like, why go back to that when I'm still? I haven't. Tattooing, you suck the first 10 years. And then then you do 20 years and you go, God, I still kind of suck. So I was like still learning and doing my thing, and I didn't want to stop or take a break from it. And I got talked into it, and then like Charlie was involved, and Sammy was involved. And then once we kind of recorded, we did 2 songs in this guy Chris's place in Jersey. Like I sang those songs in like a shower or bathroom or something.
Wow.
That was in an apartment. We sang the vocals that are on the record were never re-recorded.
Wow.
So we did it, and then our friend Marco Ciega, who we talked about before, he was like, hey, I want to direct a video. I want to be a director. And he's a neighborhood guy. We grew up in Bad Trip. Yeah. And me, him, and Walter went to an Italian restaurant and had dinner. and he pitched, we wrote notes down on like a napkin, and he pitched the Can Women and More concept of a talk show because that shit was hot.
Totally. Jerry Springer.
So we were doing like tongue in cheek, and then he went on to do like the really fucking funny boy band videos for like Blink-182, and he did
TV shows, Dexter,
movies. Yeah, he kills it.
Dude, shout out to Marcos.
We still keep in touch. Marcos is great.
So cool.
That was his first thing he directed, and
Yeah.
it was our first video. But the thing that we did, we were like, Marcos was like, I can make $100,000 video if we get like 15 grand together. So we all got to pitch in like $5,000.
Wow.
And I was like, fuck that. It's like,
yeah.
and I'm good. And and I was, and he was like, and then we were like, all right, we could spend the money, take a shot. And if not, we have a fucking funny video to show our grandkids or something.
Yeah.
So we did it. He pulled a bunch of strings. We got you in fucking leopard underwear.
Lou in there from prison.
Lou was in prison at the time. I can't remember where he was locked down, but he was in prison. That was funny.
Arizona State Prison.
Arizona?
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing. All of our friends are funny and creative, and everybody
awesome.
just kind of did all their thing. You can't just ask like 20 of your friends, like, okay, come down to the studio and you're going to act. Like,
yeah,
not a lot of people can do
that.
that.
With the lights on, I had like leopard speedos on. That was
we asked you to go a little further,
Thanks,
but you
man.
were a nudist and
whatever.
You used to make him clap and do
sack flap, all
that
shit.
shit ropes. You used to do a lot of stuff. We figured it was good.
So yeah, and then that video, fuck man, I don't know what comes out first, the single, the video, but it comes like a buzzworthy on MTV.
Yeah,
it just fucking blow it. Beavis and Butthead, like all this shit.
Yeah,
it just goes.
It didn't go as far as we wanted to because there was some shenanigans with the label and like pissing contests with dudes, but it did good. It was like considered like a minor hit.
Before the album drop that came out?
Yeah, the single came out and then
the record was completely done too.
Record was completely done.
Yeah.
And then they everything with that is the timing. Once you get in the system with like a manager and a lawyer, Scott McGee.
Thank you. We got picked up by him because of you guys.
Yeah,
it was like Quicksand, Civ,
Orange 9.
Yeah, crazy.
But we were just like, well, the thing is, we thought it was cool to get picked up, but those guys needed us because they were trying to find the next Green Day. And you know what I mean? It's not. They're not doing it because they like us.
Yeah, they were doing Kiss, like his brother. Yeah,
his brother. That's how we got to play with Kiss at the Garden.
That's right.
Yeah, Civ opened up for Kiss at the Garden.
That's insane too. So the shit blows up, and you're still tattooing, and like all of a sudden.
Well, it sucked because I would have to. I was in this system. I remember going to a dinner to meet Doc McGee with Sammy and Charlie, and I was really having a hard time with the major label thing and all of it. And they knew, and Scott knew, and Scott was like, my brother's coming into town. Let Doc give you a pitch about being on McGee Entertainment. And we're at this restaurant. And, you're sitting there fighting yourself about being like a hardcore kid and the streets. Yeah. And then they're like,
the roots
and rabies. And you're just like, but then you're thinking, fuck, if this works, man, I'll have like, I could have like a fucking mansion and a yacht like Elmer J. Fudd or some shit. You don't know. Mm-hmm. I could be chilling at 30 years old, 25 years old. So it's like, do I take the shot or do I say, fuck this and keep it real or whatever? I know what Rick to Life would do, keep that shit real. But so we're having this dinner and he's like, Doc's like, listen, guys, money isn't the most important thing. And I said, all right, like I'm listening. And he goes, money's the only thing. Damn. And I was like, God damn it. And I remember going outside. I was like sitting on the curb. It was like I had this big ass cell phone for the first time, like one of those like giant Star Trek ones. Those. And I was like crying, talking to my girl at the time. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm good. Life is good. Why am I doing this? This isn't me.
Yeah.
And then it was just like the voice crept in, hey, you could always tattoo. You can't always take a shot like this.
Yeah.
You got to take the shot. So shot my shot. It was pretty good, but
pretty good, man.
We stayed on the road
Warped Tours, all that shit. I remember.
Yeah, we did the first two and the fourth Warped Tour, and those were groundbreaking, and they were fucking super cool. But it was a lot to be on the road. We were on the road like 8 months out of the year.
Yeah, for a couple years. Yeah,
for like from until 2000. So
with
like
Civ.
5 or 6 years almost. Yeah.
Yeah, the first couple of H2O shows you played with Civ. I remember that in Syracuse and upstate New York.
Yep.
And just that video catching heat and blowing up and all that stuff. It was kind of pre-internet, obviously.
Yeah.
And like it was awesome. I mean, we're people.
Yeah, for a hardcore band, like, or dudes from hardcore bands, like, it was huge for
to
us.
be on Beavis and Butthead, that's sick too.
I was nervous. Someone told me that, and I said, "Oh my god, they probably tore me apart and called me all kinds of fucking names." And then they were like, "No, they did. They said it was cool."
That's awesome.
And I was like, "Woo!"
You did that. And I remember also we shot the 7-inch cover at our barbershop in St. Mark's.
Yes.
On the back
Punk
of the 7-inch
haircuts.
video. Yeah, punk haircuts, $5. And
Everything was always DIY. It was just always
Yeah.
us just doing things and just waiting for people to fucking catch up or like it or not. It's like, who cares?
Yeah. So did that record change your life in a sense financially, or?
Oh, hell no. I was losing money because I was working, and the label would give you like $1,500 a month to live on, but they keep you on the road so you don't spend any money. But I already had an apartment. I had my shop to take care of. So I would come home. I'd be broke as a joke because I was living like tattooer lifestyle. So I had expenses.
Yeah.
And then I had the fake. And I remember going on the train. I was on the LIR going to work. And I got on the train, and some girl was staring at me with her mouth open. And I was like, "Hi, like, you're right?" And she was like, "Yeah, I saw you this morning on MTV." And I said, "Oh, yeah, cool." And she was like, "What are you doing on the train?" And I said, "Oh, my helicopter's broken." You know what I mean? It's like, I don't have any fucking money.
Wow.
You're on MTV. They don't pay you to do that.
No.
So it's like,
that's pretty crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. It's like, oh, you're famous. It's like, I'm broken famous. Being famous with no money is not cool. Being have money is cool, and being famous could be okay with it.
Yeah.
But being financially secure and having like a cool existence is better than being famous.
Yeah.
100%.
Fuck. And so that record probably went gold at least, maybe?
No, hell no. It did like 100, and well, that was the thing. Here's the thing. This is what I told after. The Jason Flom was our guy.
Yeah.
Lava in Atlantic. And he got into some pissing contest with a dude from K-Rock. And this is what I was told like years later. And the dude from K-Rock was like, "I love the song. I want to break the band." Jason was like, "No, we're breaking it with the video with MTV." And he's like, "Nope, we got to do it on K-Rock first. Give me 1 day with it or 2 days with it, then we'll go to MTV." So no one tells you this shit's going on.
Damn.
And Jason was like, "Nope." So the dude was like, "Listen to me. If you don't give me this song to break, I'm not playing it on any K-Rock stations."
Damn.
And Jason said, and this was the pissing contest, he was like, "This song is such fire. We don't need K-Rock."
Wow.
And he was wrong. We needed K-Rock because
Holy
we only
shit.
had MTV. A lot of people don't watch fucking MTV and they listen to radio.
True.
So he gambled our gold record with his own, macho.
Jesus, man.
So we still did good. I think when I don't know what it was at now or turned out to be. It's probably went over 200 plus, but it was when we first did it, and like the SoundScan numbers came in, it was like 165 domestic. So that's a minor hit. Like gold is gold, or 300's a hit.
Yeah.
But it was good for a hardcore band.
Yeah, and then doing like 13-Day Getaway after that, was there pressure for that?
That was one of the most fun records we ever did because it was just the band. It was like me, Charlie, and Sammy.
Okay.
And Arthur was in and out on it, but like that was.
And then Walter wasn't on that one.
No,
Okay.
that was the first. But we had been playing so much and on tour so much, and we didn't have like a manager that said like, "Hey guys, this is too far of a departure from the first record."
Yeah.
We just were like listening. Charlie was listening to like Blur and Oasis. And I was just more concentrating on writing lyrics that I was really happy with, and like melodies that we were happy with. And we really like spent time recording it. We went up to Bearsville studio and we worked with like a bunch of cool people and cool mics. We had a fucking keyboard player. It was like it was like band, like music, like what we wanted to do. And it wasn't like hardcore record. It was just a record. And I think the problem with that one was we we didn't mix all the songs together. Sammy was really into doing two sides. He's like a hardcore side. We like flip the record and it's like the poppy stuff, and then you get like the hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I want it as a record all the way through, but it was kind of 2 against 1, so we did like 2 separate things. But I still listen to that record, and I'm just like, we did it fucking. I love that record.
Yeah, some great.
A lot of
songs in
people
there.
are like, "Yo, fuck that record." You needed 4 records in between that record, to get to that point. Now it's just like, who gives a fuck? It's just music, and we wrote it, and we stand by it.
Yeah, and so that was 1998, and then the next thing you released was into 2006, which is the At the Matinee 700 GB.
Oh,
It's a long time for recording music, man.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I
Just
think
back to tattoo and back to normal life and just family and all that.
Yeah, music is like when it rears its head. It's completely normal, but I don't ever seek it out too much. I don't like. I'm more of a things happen when they're supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But like at the matinee, that was totally fun and cool, and people fucking, because we did Short End of the Stick, I think, on that, and people were like, that fucking 7-inch sucks, Short End of the Stick sucks, and it was like, asshole, that was on the demo tape. If we released that with the demo tape, you'd be like, that was genius. It was like, that song was from the fucking 80s.
Fuck. People didn't know that because
they don't know that because they just want to hate on anything new.
Fuck.
But who gives a fuck?
Remember the tour we did in 1995 was like the CIV Sick of It All H2O tour.
Hell yeah.
That shit was crazy. Me and you would be like running up phone bills and smashing shit and like losing our minds.
Throwing bags of shit.
We had both our ladies out there. Oh my God, dude. For like 6 weeks.
We lost our minds.
We did. That was
we used to cut bands tents open and steal their food because we were fucking vegan and there was no food. So we would go look who was on stage and get box cutters and cut their tents open and steal their food.
Fuck.
We throw bags of shit at things
Yeah,
all
we
the
were going
time.
wild,
Bags
breaking
of shame.
shit. Then
breaking
the booking agent
everything.
be like, hey, somebody ran up a phone bill in Italy, calling New York or something like that.
Oh yeah, phone. You forget it. You were on the phone mission.
Did we share a bus with Sick of It All?
No, me and you, we shared a
just-
Beat the Street bus. Remember Mikey Dirtass? He had the piss bucket he had to carry through the bus.
It was H2O and CIV together?
Yeah, that was
That's
one
right,
bus.
our bus. Yeah, it was crazy.
And Sick of It All was like the adult parents.
Yes.
And we were like the fucking mentally challenged stepchildren because we were so cracked. Leeway had the bus before us, and I laid down in the bunk, and there was dried spit, stalactite, like lungies, like whoever was in. I was like, who was bunk am I in? But they were hocking lungies on the ceiling, and it was like a cloth ceiling, and they were dry and like the stalactite, like.
Oh my
and I was
God,
laying
dude.
there with them, like covering dry spit bubbles over my head. And
Fucking nasty.
And it was a piss bucket that you couldn't shit in the bus, but you could piss in it, and there was no way to get out of it. And Toby named this guy Mikey Dirtass, and he only wore swag. He wore free sweatpants that had like Sepultura on them. And he would pick this piss bucket up with like 10 gallons of piss in it, hold it against his chest, and then try to walk through the bus, and then it would start sloshing around, and he'd start screaming in German. And then he'd have to go dump it.
You know what was awesome is that company's huge now, Beat the Street. It's like a whole different world.
Oh, the bus we had it was a middle door that was welded shut. My bunk had the bars in it to push the door open.
Damn.
And then we'd have like band wrestling fights.
That's right.
Smokey, I thought I broke my
I remember
nose.
pillow fighting with Arthur.
Smokey smashed
I
my
love
nose
Arthur.
to
Got
the
really mad at
ground.
me one day. I felt bad. I'm sorry. They didn't really have it hard the pillow.
That's okay. He deserves it sometime. Remember the fucking lizard juice?
What's that?
Smokey stole a bottle out of a Spanish restaurant. We were in Spain, and there was a full-bodied lizard soaking in this juice.
That's right. And he fucking ate it, right?
He put, a lizard, like I'm talking like a 12-inch lizard shoved in this bottle, and he kept it under his bunk, his bed. And then when like strangers or new guests would come on the bus and they were wasted, he'd fucking scream, "Lizard juice!" And he'd take it out and he'd make these people drink it, and he would take a shot of it.
Oh my God, bro! Did you ever eat part of the lizard all or no?
I think it was too much. My friends the other day did scorpion shots, but eating a full lizard, I don't know. I think the lizard stayed in the bottle.
I'm so happy we never drank and stuff like that. Oh, you did when you were a kid, but I'm saying like we never.
But imagine if we did.
Because we always have fun without it, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you imagine if we did drink and do drugs? We were already throwing bags of shit and piss and stealing food and fighting.
What was the what was the reason for you to go straight edge? You just were done partying as a young kid, or just
I just did it. too early because my brother was 4 years older than me, and I just was keeping up with him, and then getting in trouble, and then I was like, this is stupid. Had like as the AA people say, an aha moment, and I was just. But then I was getting into. Then I found out there was like a straight edge scene, and then I realized how the straight edge scene annoyed the shit out of everybody so much. So it was like, ooh, I could be double annoying. I could be punk and annoying to the punks.
Yeah.
So that was a win-win for me.
Yeah. So how old were you when you stopped?
I was. I think I was still probably drinking. Like to be punk, like 16. I think probably 17. I stopped everything.
Yeah. It's right before I met you. Yeah.
I was straight edge. Now I don't even think about it. Now I just think like every once in a while, like my wife's like, oh, have a drink on the deck, watch the sun
Does
go
she drink?
down. Mary drinks like wine.
Yeah, my
She'll
wife
have a
does
drink.
too once in a while. Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, I could probably do it, but then like, I know my personality. It's like you like your house. You like your house.
Yeah.
We might lose it.
Yeah, exactly.
you like having clothes. I don't
You
know.
think we're too old to claim it and like X up and talk about it?
No, I think you can still X up.
I see people talking about like how old you still talking about straight edge in your 50s. It's like I'm just proud. I'm proud that I.
I mean, I don't have to be like spouting off about being straight. It's like spouting off about being vegan. Like I'll
Totally.
talk about it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of things I don't do that I don't need to talk about.
Yeah. I feel like Cats and Dogs as an animal rights song and also as a way of talking about it was such a informative, smart, compassionate way that wasn't preachy, that wasn't like gross
it was a great like avenue to take with it because it was just like, oh yeah, I wouldn't want to eat my fucking cat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Totally just basic to the point. I feel
Yeah.
like it was such a gateway song.
It was a smart
Talk about
avenue.
Chef Talk Crossroads. That's a song that got him to be that way as well. Obviously, me living with you guys at that time. And then KRS One, My Philosophy came out at the same time in '88.
I don't eat chicken or fish or
Turkey or a hamburger. Because to me, that's suicide,
man.
self-murder.
Self-murder.
So that song itself, Cats and Dogs, is such a fucking...
Well, the only thing,
Powerful anthem.
the worst thing I think about being in like a band that people know or like when people record, like people say to me like, oh, when you get into hardcore, you have to know Start Today, or you have to know this record. It's like a legacy record, and it's like, but as it goes on, and you like meet like Tall, and it's just like, oh, your record inspired me, and it's just like I wish it inspired me to like fucking open Crossroads and have all these companies and like do all this philanthropy shit.
Yeah, like I'm just singing about it and wrote it.
We met this dude in Japan. He's got like $1 billion clothing company online, and his company is called Start Today.
Wow.
He's like going to fucking Mars in a rocket ship or some shit, and he's got a $40 million Basquiat painting. And
What?
Yeah, and we're just like, well, we went to Japan, went to his offices, and he gave us like a coffee mug and like a towel. And it's like Start Today etched in this glass. He's a punk drummer.
That's cool.
And
That's crazy with the impact of that.
But we're just like, what the fuck? Why didn't we start today more? Why didn't we do better? Well, and the guy's like, his whole staff is around him, and he's got this giant Indian motorcycle in his office, and he's like, do they have any more questions for me, or because he like we got brought in there to like him to I don't know, fucking it was weird.
Yeah.
And Walter's like, yeah, can I have a fucking job? Like, can you pay me to do nothing?
It's crazy the different walks of life.
And they all laughed, and he was like, I'm completely serious.
Just like Tall is like a well-respected chef in the whole world. Besides just being a vegan chef, just what he does, and he's inspired by one of your songs, which is crazy that people like civilians wouldn't even know the name Gorilla Biscuit, nevertheless that song, where it came from, that connection. It's powerful.
My wife's always freaked out by like people that she'll meet at her store, or like through people that know the band. And they're just like, what?
You'd never expect.
Married? And she's like, you know that?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. And she's like, that's fucking weird.
That's crazy because they don't have to be going to shows anymore. It could be something that record could be part of their childhood or something, or like.
Well, that's the difference that we don't. The option I think we don't have really is like people can retire from it and walk away from it and start another existence and look back at it fondly, but nobody told us that there was a retirement plan. I remember we would be like. We were like 20, and we'd be like, how long could we do this? And the joke would always be like, when Vinny Stigman retires, that's like when we can retire.
I agree. He's like a
But-
big inspiration.
But the fucking guy won't retire.
He's in his mid-60s.
And we got to. It's like Vinny, retire.
I put him up there with Kevin Seconds and all these other artists who are still performing. Keith Morris killing in his 60s. Like,
I know, but that's too much. I don't want to do that. Somebody needs to retire.
But you've always been smart too. Like a little bit going back, just like buying property in Harlem before it was not many people buying stuff in there. Then finally buying out your tattoo shop. Then having a place upstate. You've always been really smart.
I tried.
With
I
your money,
was
man.
lucky. I was lucky to make some good investments early on. Like, some people thought it was pretty risky, but there's no, like we said before, there's no paycheck to this. There's no 401k. There's no retirement. There's no gold watch at the end of this. And a lot of our friends didn't do 2 things or 3 things or 4 things. They just did 1 thing. And I get nervous for my friends.
Same.
Some of our friends do awesome. And but no one. Growing up, my father never told me how to balance a checkbook.
I was gonna say, you didn't go to college for that either. Yeah.
He never told me how to invest in real estate. He never told me what like a percentage rate was or like how or what to invest in. So how do you know? It's like my life was supposed to be just pure suffering, and then I was just like, I'm not going to suffer. Figure it out.
You mean you see working all day to the bone, going home.
I still have that. I still have that white trash, blue collar grind in me where I'll do whatever I can do by myself. I do it by myself. But I also understand that the way I can make money is different than the way other people make money. And so if I should let them do their job that they're good at, and I do what I'm good at, and we, it just pushes the economy around.
Sure.
Like just between people.
Yeah.
But the house was in the city was a risk, but it really worked out, and that's retirement and for my kids and family and upstate we made a couple of really good moves too, and COVID helped us in a weird way.
Yeah.
And I have no complaints. I remember sitting right around COVID. I was sitting in London at dinner with 2 of my friends, and we're all just self-employed dudes.
Yeah.
And we were talking about what we were doing or what we were working on. And my friend Dante was just like, when I look around this table, you know what I see? And he's just got full gold fronts, top and bottom, dressed to the nines. And he said, I see 3 hustlers. And it was a great compliment.
Yeah.
I said, that's fantastic. I
You've always been, man.
I don't think about it. But I'm not going to be a person who's standing there with a fucking cup in my hand and ask for a handout.
Totally.
That's not me either.
Yeah, it's amazing that you can, and still having this music career too, that you just probably never thought in a million years, over 30 years later, we're playing a show tonight in LA. You guys are playing a sold out show in Los Angeles tonight, and like it's a whole new generation of people loving your music. It's awesome.
That's what's making it cool. Seeing 12 to 15 to 20-year-old kids stage diving.
Yeah.
And that's that's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like your legacy is just gonna live on, and I feel like the band's bigger than it ever was in the past 15 years or even more. It's just
Jordan. Rev.
Number one selling record from Rev. I pretty much heard that.
Yes, I heard that's true. You're welcome, Jordan. But Steve Reddy, who is a huge inspiration when it comes to making your own way from humble beginnings, he is the king of it. And him and Jordan both gave us great compliments, where they said through the years the merchandise has become like the new record for us, where they've given me credit to like reinventing the merchandise game in hardcore.
Yeah.
Because I was willing to do some shit out of the box to push it. And now when I go to shows and I see like we said, like an ended shirt or a gel shirt, and they're fucking weird and cool and colorful and have their own style, I could take a pinch of credit for that, for letting in my mind, for saying, okay, these guys can take a risk with this and not be judged, and just have your style. Just try to push it a little bit.
I feel like the whole hundreds collabs with you guys and Judge and his bands where they were dropping pink things in different colorways, streetwear brand styles too, like really
100%.
pop that open as well.
Super 7.
Yeah, Super 7, yeah.
Hundreds. Yeah, Bobby is great at what he does.
Yeah, just having like there was no pink GB shorts back in the day or a different color or
No.
or
And now
turquoise or long
it's like all
sleeves.
we do is I think, colorways is part of the whole gig.
Yeah.
Trying to think about it.
Your whole style is very vintage though. You've always been like that.
I've always worn
Been
garbage.
a thrifter, like before it was trendy,
Always.
before hipsters, before all that stuff even came out.
And
like,
that was the great thing when we did CIV. It was like, that's just the way I always, dressed in vintage clothes. So I would crush it every time we went on tour. We'd stop the bus. I'd call a cab and I'd go to the fucking thrift store and just clean up and then come back to the bus, throw it in the bay. And
then having your thrift store, was it, what street was it? Was it 9th Street?
My wife's store is on 9th Street between 1st and 2nd. That's her deal. That's like,
cool, though,
I just
man.
helped build it, but she's curated the best women's vintage. I can say this because it's fucking true, but the best women's vintage store in New York.
That's awesome.
And she's had it for 10 years.
That's
But that was
Big
the
deal.
same thing. She was going to go to college for some shit she didn't want to do. And I was just like, why?
Mm.
And it's not like you can say that to everybody and they believe you. And she just kind of molded over and she changed majors and she went to FIT.
Awesome.
And then she just curated the best store ever. I mean, I help her build stuff and I'm still like the Schneider, the handyman in the place. She'll just be like, hey, on Thursday, what do you think about changing all 12 of the lights out in the ceiling? And I'm like, oh, yeah, psyched.
You can do all that, right? Electricity and all that stuff?
Yeah.
That's all. And that's all self-taught.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I mean, I call like Cousin Joey if I need help or somebody.
You do plumbing too?
I don't sweat pipes. I can change out like toilets and sinks.
Okay.
And I do tile. I do carpentry.
Painting, flooring, stuff like that?
Yeah. Wood
That's so
floors.
sick. Super DIY.
Yeah.
All self-taught. You watch YouTube videos?
But it's because it's before YouTube. I just I watch YouTube videos for like if like this is gonna sound so like bougie, but like if I have like trouble with my boat engine or something, and I'll go, why is that happening? And then I'll call somebody. I have a lot of guys.
Okay.
My wife would say I collect people.
Okay.
Like you do too. You
Totally.
collect more than me, but I have guys for everything.
That's awesome. And what about fixing car engines and stuff like that?
I'm not good at that, and I got rid of I was doing a little bit of that when I had a vintage car. I had a 63 Boxer, like I was telling Moon today. And I was in the Rumblers, and there was 12 guys, and it was cool. And I do body work. I do more of that where it's like more like sculpting or art. I can understand that. I'm not the most mechanical person. There's like 2 or 3 boat trick engines that I understand.
Yeah.
And that's how I troubleshoot it. If it's past those, if I can't get it working with those 3 tricks, I'm just called mechanic.
Okay.
But
And you're a good cook too, right?
I'm a great cook.
And you've been cooking your whole life too?
Yeah.
Damn. I get some lessons, man. I'm terrible at cooking.
I'm
man.
a jack of all trade, master of
Yeah, you
none.
really are, man.
I try.
You do everything, man. Handyman,
I want
everything.
to now. I want to be like an off the grid, self sufficient. I want to learn how to can things. I don't know that stuff. I'm into like
Canned foods.
Kind of started slowly getting not like in a bury your weapons kind of a way, but more of like an off the grid way.
You have like a crazy cellar with stuff in there? No.
Yeah, or like maybe a shelf. Not like
No underground tunnels.
Yeah,
and stuff
not
like
like a 2-year supply of rhubarb.
that. Yeah.
I just maybe some tomatoes. I like gardening.
What are some of your daily rituals? I know you're a coffee guy.
2 coffees, coffee shits after,
Totally.
and then I'm ready to do the water first. Water, coffee, shits. I do intermediate fasting, so I don't eat until 12.
Sick.
But ritual is waking up, taking my kid to school, or watching my little son while my wife takes my kid to school, feeding them, hanging out with them. I don't have to leave for work until like 10:30 or 11 o'clock usually.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
So I get time in the morning. Work out sometimes if my kid will let me, if he goes to bed. A little cardio. Haven't really been doing a lot of that. No time. And then I work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. maybe
That's good.
an hour of TV when I get home with Mary, with a little hour couch time chatting.
Yeah.
And then it's a pretty boring life. And I go to bed. And then on the weekends we go upstate. And
It's nice up there.
I'm still working a lot up there. So there's a lot of barn stuff, house stuff, landscape stuff, trying to, make a project for the future, for long term for the kids and passive income and that kind of shit.
Yeah. Do you have any major regrets in your life?
Losing my hair so early, I couldn't control that.
What year was that?
I was like 19, I think. It started exploding off my head. No, I probably have some regrets with relationship choices.
Yeah,
I have that. Not learning about certain, like we said before, 401ks or IRA, money issues early, being ignorant about stuff like that. Not really too many. I don't really live in regrets. I just figure shit happened. It happened.
Yeah.
But I don't really regret much. Mostly just a few bad choices, but you try to learn from them.
Yeah. What do you think it is with your band and the legacy of it? Why it's still relevant? Why people still care? And you ever think about that, or
probably
the in connection, the impact? Maybe the stuff you were singing about back then is still happening. Maybe even more. Or I don't know.
Probably my voice.
Okay.
It's so fantastic.
It's your voice.
It's so good. I think it's probably. You asked me a question like that, I have to say something stupid.
No,
it's just how I'm built. I don't know. I think the songs and the themes and the ideas are universal and kind of timeless.
Yeah.
And they can stay contemporary. I mean, they're kind of some of the ideas, like we were talking about, the stab in the back thing or whatever. Or some of the ideas are juvenile. And
but Cats and Dogs is so relevant now. Degradation, a lot of those songs are just
hardcore and punk was that. It was questioning things, and it was you just questioned everything. Like 7 Seconds, it's not just boys fun.
Totally.
I mean, that was early, and maybe that was controversial, but it just, and we were like, fuck yeah, we want more girls at shows. Like, are you kidding me? This fucking sausage fest every night.
Yeah.
Shit wasn't cool. And the same thing, like we were talking about, you were talking about that band Zulu today.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there wasn't a lot of, black. We had a lot of Spanish in New York and some Asian, but there wasn't a lot of black hardcore guys. It just wasn't done. It wasn't their thing. It was like they were in their hip hop in New York. They had some dudes who were into metal, but then it started happening, and it's slowly, and now there's besides the Bad Brains, obviously.
Yeah.
But the Goats, they're the best. But now that that's kind of happening, and like we were joking in the car, it's like, white dudes had a good run in hardcore. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's for everybody now. Fucking Speed, it's mixed now, and all the girls fronted bands.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
It's a sick time.
Bands were singing about that back then. Walk Together, Rock Together, and all those different songs, but really we're seeing a lot of that diversity.
Yeah, but for years I would just, when we were playing shows, or we'd like be playing these good shows, and I'd be like, what the fuck? Why can't like a bunch of 16-year-olds just fucking figure out 3 fucking chords and do it? Like, it's hardcore. It's just do it.
Yeah.
And then, it took an extra, 10 years.
No,
and then it's crushing.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, I'll be in the backstage room and I'll hear something like, what the fuck? I go walk out like on stage and watch. And I go, damn.
It's cool, man.
It's cool.
Everybody has their own style, everything.
Yeah.
Are you an optimist or pessimist?
I am... I'm a negative optimist, right?
It's the first for that one.
When I think you would agree. I'm a negative I can always find what's wrong pretty quick, but I am always very optimistic. I think I don't think humans are, bad. I don't think the world's going to end. I don't think, we're going to let the planet fall apart.
Yeah.
I feel that people will be fine, and we'll be fine. I think we have to, me included, have to be a little gentler, a little bit less what I was when I was a kid and what I was raised as. I have to be smarter, have to be kinder. And I think everybody could use a little bit of that without the softness.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that, you know, as men or fathers or parents, we have a role, and I'm cool with my assigned role as a father and a provider or a parent, and that's not taking anything away from women or my wife or her or what she can do or what women can do. And, you know, and your wife included, I've known Moon for as long as I've known you.
Yeah.
And she's always held it down.
Totally.
And I also, you know, I always have, after you watch your wife give birth,
Totally.
you fucking realize you're nothing.
Yeah.
You don't, you're a donkey in the field, really. You're just a workhorse, and that's your gig, because you can't create life like that. So that's how, how I feel. I'm optimistic that things are going to be cool, that people are going to enjoy themselves and take care of one another. And I think there's always going to be pushback. I think this next generation coming up of kids, there might be some pushback with, you know, with like how PC things are now, and
Cancel culture, it's all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be pushback on cancel culture, and
It's already happening, I think, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but you know, it's fucking tough, because, you know, being a teenager or in your early 20s with every ounce of information at your fingertips,
Totally.
your brain can't process it.
It's a lot.
It's been 10 or 15 years in the entire history of human race that you've been able to be as smart as a computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like we're not
It's crazy.
geared for that. You don't have to retain anything anymore, because you don't have to remember, because you can just look it up again. So
it's pretty fucking crazy.
It's
Yeah.
really crazy. I mean, these conversations, it's like, why do I have to study this? I can look it up.
Yeah.
And then and the other answer is, well, maybe we should teach these people how to farm or make a fire and go back to grassroots learning, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I have dudes come up to the house like that, guys in their 40s, but who were raised on computers and smartphones. And they're like, what do you mean you put up the wallpaper?
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, you know how fucking easy it is to wallpaper? Or like, you built that shelf? And it's like, yeah, man, you don't have tools?
Yeah.
No.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, technology's kicking ass, but is it the best thing? Like, there's got to be a balance. I'm a complete fucking Luddite, you know, but I'm just like I don't go home and check my emails or
Check your DMs or messages from people.
just my phones, but I just have my phone.
Instagram,
I don't.
You check messages from people.
Yeah, I answer people
You answer people. Yeah.
most of the time, unless it's something
Do you
stupid.
respond to a negative comment or anything like that?
No. I mean, I'll be like wise ass.
Yeah.
You know, like someone said, like last night, someone was like, I put the post up that the show sold out, and they were like, I hope it's a good turnout. And I said, I think sold out's a good turnout, but thank you. And he's just like, I just got here. Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And I was just
They
like,
just want your attention and conversation.
I know, but I don't have time for that shit, because I'm not this generation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, don't waste my time with stupid shit. You got something to say to me? Ask me and I'll tell you.
What
Or I
about your
won't tell
kids? Are they old enough to be on the iPads now and stuff like that?
when we're in like a situation where we can't be present,
Yeah.
it's like a negative reward where it's like, hey, why don't you go watch a show or
Yeah.
something? But like my 8-year-old's day will start with like breakfast, and then like, okay, you got, even though it's summer, it's like, all right, we got to do your 8 times tables and 7 times tables, and then if you don't fuck it up, you can do something, you know. But she plays just like some games and shit. But they're out.
Cool.
They're outdoor kids. They get outside and get after it.
Yeah, especially like your spot upstate. It's probably nice.
That's
to
what
get
it is.
outside
It's
in the
just
water.
they just walk out. They just want to be outside.
It's crazy. We spent most of our lives outside, no phones, just playing, skateboarding.
Yeah, that's
everything.
the kind of existence we're trying to give her, and luckily we have some friends upstate that have the same kind of thing where the kids are just doing it. I mean, TV is fucking TV. Everyone's gonna watch TV, and movies are fucking fun.
Yeah.
And you need to shut your brain off sometimes too. Kids can't be going hard.
100%.
Shut your brain off. Relax.
What if they want to do music? Would you be supportive?
My oldest kid, she's a great singer, but she doesn't do it anymore. But I don't know. I kind of fucked that up with my oldest one, where she was like, I want to be like a painter, an artist. And I was like, I literally said, you can't make a living as an artist or a musician. And she just looked at me and I was like, don't judge what I did, because it was timing and it was just lucky. But as I said that, so it was kind of like, what are you talking about?
Fuck.
But I want, because you want what you don't have. You want your kids to have stability.
Yeah.
You want them to have, a fucking, I don't know, not a shitty job, but stability. But if you, but that's the thing too. If you work hard enough, and you play your cards right, your kids can be straight too.
Totally. Well, fuck, I appreciate you being here, man, for these 2 hours. We have a show to play tonight. We've been talking this for 4 years. And would you have any last thing, maybe like top 5 inspirations or artists or anybody or?
Artists, my favorite probably painter is like Jean-Michel Basquiat. He's so exciting to me. I have a lot of tattoo artists and people that inspire me. Simple old ideas, like the simplicity of like a Dan Higgs kind of tattooer.
Awesome. And great band Lungfish.
And great band, yeah. He's a great artist. Music, I've run the gamut from, like a Johnny Cash to Depeche Mode to
it's awesome.
Whatever. But
what is something you listen to that people are like, oh shit, Sid from GB listens to that?
Lily Allen.
Okay, sick.
Something like that. We still have, like fucking DMX is still my guy.
Sick.
He's my favorite.
Favorite MC?
I think so.
Yeah.
I like Biggie, but DMX just does it for me.
All right. So you still listen to hip hop here and there?
At work, we listen to music 8-10 hours a day.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure.
we have to put a lot of things on. We still listen to new stuff.
That's cool.
And but through hardcore, kind of like what we've been talking about, for me, besides like the Cro-Mags and Agnostic Front, like Murphy's Law, the original Seeds, the guys who changed my existence were Youth of Today.
Yeah.
Because they took me out on tour.
For sure.
As a roadie in '87. And Judge, of course. But those guys, when I was on tour in '87 as a roadie, I don't know what made me do it, but I kept a journal.
That's awesome.
And I took a camera with me. And I kept all those things in a Foot Locker trunk that I probably had. It was my dad's from like Korean War era that I probably had since we lived together.
It's amazing.
And my friend Patrick finally got me to sit down and write down all those thoughts and ideas.
There's a book. Yes.
And there's now a book about my summer in '87 as a roadie. And what's
it called?
It's called A Roadie's Tale.
Okay.
The title's longer than that, but it's basically A Roadie's Tale. And because it's not about me, and it's my perspective as a roadie, but it's based on the journals.
It's awesome.
So it's every day of the tour. And then I was able to talk to some of the guys in the band and my friend RJ.
That's cool, man.
And I would, read them something or send them something that was written, and they'd expand on it. So I didn't want it to be everyone's collective idea of the tour, because then it becomes it becomes disjointed. I just wanted it to be from the journals as they were and what was important to me at the time to write about.
Okay.
So there's, fight stories,
Sick.
Breaking down stories, great show stories, girl stories.
You have to run the stories by the people involved to make sure it's cool to put it out.
I didn't even fucking think about it.
Okay.
It's my thing, and people are named.
Okay, fuck it.
And listen, it happened, and there's nothing bad.
Yeah,
it was an innocent time but like all the stealing from health food stores and eating and surviving and
Time
having
to
no
remember.
money. Time to remember together.
Yeah.
It's the us working in a junkyard together
Holy shit.
to get money to fix the van. You know, like just doing it.
This is out soon. When's this out?
It's being made right now. So we're gonna set up a
Pre-order link.
Pre-order link.
Sick.
And if you would help me do that, that would be great.
Of course.
I'm gonna do it too, but I'll send it to you.
Is it a website or something? Or
Yeah, it's gonna be through. The link will be on my Instagram.
okay.
And then it's gonna have a web page where we can order through Tribal Publishing,
Okay.
which is our friend Patrick Ketzel. He's making books. Oh, hardcore.
Oh, Kitzel?
Ketzel.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Patrick's doing it. Hardcore German dude.
Reaper Records.
Yep, Reaper
All right,
Records.
cool.
So it's all like DIY style.
Awesome.
And Patrick was the one that was like, fucking do it. And that was it. So yeah, I'll set up the link and it's going to be good. It's going to be out. It'll be in the flesh in September, and hopefully have like a book release in New York with the guys from Youth of Today, the original dudes.
So like a book reading, like a thing?
Yeah, like all the guys, a little
Okay.
signing and like maybe a reading.
That's
we're
fucking
working
cool.
it out. I'll send you info.
Or like a
Post it.
memoir or some book that someday would you write about your life?
What I have planned, if this does well, and I think it's cool. I mean, it's the first attempt at this, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
I also have my journals from the first GB tour in 1989.
That could be part 2.
That'll be part 2, and I have my journal in 91 from 89 in Europe.
So this is a trilogy here.
There's going to be a trilogy, and then there
That's
might
cool.
be something in between. But yeah, I'm kind of falling in love with the idea of writing all this stuff down, because I kept all the pictures, I have all the flyers from the shows still. You know,
That's sick.
I'm a hoarder.
No, I love that, dude.
So and then we reached out to BJ Pappas and got some from the first CB show of the tour, and she took beautiful pictures.
Amazing photographer. Shout out to BJ Pappas.
And we have, we should call BJ and make him come out tonight.
Oh yeah, shit.
And
It's 9 o'clock.
and this, oh no, we gotta go. I'll shut up. I gotta take a shit and get ready for the
What's
show.
the matter, Chip? What's the matter? Why? We'll play to 10:20. Who's saying to get? Who's saying that?
They're saying for both of y'all.
Who's calling?
Max called me, and then Millhouse called me.
Is everything cool there?
I guess.
Let me say goodbye to the pod, man. Sib, thank you so much
No-
for being here. We talked about this for 4 years. I love you. I appreciate everything you've done with music.
No
What
sweat.
you've done for my life as a young person, and taking me in under your wing and inspiring me to
You know, I'm
start
only
my
a
band.
year older than you. You're always like, took care of me when I was young. Motherfucker acts like I'm like 75
Yeah, but you have
years
the
old.
job. You're responsible. You're like the guy. You're like the man of the house.
Okay.
At the
I'll take
GB
that.
house.
So it's like when I was young and innocent, and you were on your third marriage, and
But all your ball breaking throughout the years with me, like I appreciate you inspiring me to not just focus on one thing, do other things, besides my band. And
ball
really,
breaking is just meant in love to make you snap out of fantasies.
I
That's
love
what
it.
we do to each other.
Yeah, give me tough skin though. I appreciate
You
it.
got to be tough.
When I came there from Maryland, you guys fucking little.
A wise man once said, "Life's hard. You got to be hard too."
True.
Boom.
Well, that's a great ending of this podcast.
Mic drop.
Thank you, Sid. Love you and appreciate you.
Love
man.
you too, buddy.
That was amazing.
Thanks for having me on.
Peace.
Peace.
That was like so fucking weird to like set up. Sid, can
Yeah.
you do a mic check?
Check 1 2.
Oh,
check
yeah, we're
1,
good.
2.
Okay,
Okay,
bet.
cool.
Okay, cool. Okay, so back in the podcast, my brother Siv, we did this podcast 1 week ago, the night of our LA show, which is a fucking incredible show, incredible whole night of. It was just an amazing night, man. It was such a good weekend. Denver was great. Santa Cruz, Berkeley, playing these 4 shows you do was fucking. It's just a perfect combo. I feel it's just super fun. you know?
Santa Cruz was fucking weird, but it was cool. It was cool in a weird way. It's just like a weird
It's
vibe.
different.
Weird,
Yeah.
different. It was just weird. It was like you felt like it felt like when you used to do old tours and you didn't know what the hell you were going to get into,
Yeah.
and like any weird shit could happen, and you're like, okay, now I'm in the basement of a VFW hall with like flags and a weird giant coffee
super
pot
DIY.
kitchen.
Super DIY.
Yeah, so super DIY.
And my friend
But-
was there from Good Riddance. He said, "Yo, that venue is just old school, and that's just how it's always been. You know, it's just how it sounds, and that's how."
Yeah,
it is,
that's
you know?
everyone's like that's like where they did shows, and it's like a hardcore show place, and that's cool.
No, it was good. It was really fun. The shows were great.
Yeah,
But-
audiences were so good.
Yeah, it was so good. And it's interesting with this pod is like I mean, we did that leading up to the show. We were here in my house for like 2.5 hours eating food, fucking, then go play the show. And then sometimes you forget about things. And some of the best conversations obviously are had off a podcast, but there was some really great stories that you were telling backstage with Henderson, and just some gems that I felt were key to come back and hop on. And one of them was kind of like one of the first kind of punk rockers that you actually saw and became friends with was Anthony Cominale.
Yes.
And I heard you talking about him having like a brown Trans Am and a leather jacket and spiky hair.
Yeah.
Kind of sound like the punk rocker from the Breakfast Club in a sense.
He was definitely like an outsider kind of a guy when you looked at him.
Yeah.
And but he, you know what, it was his sister, his older sister, Christina, had like a super cool vibe, and she was always like into like cool haircuts, and she was into punk early. She was older than Anthony, so she kind of let him in, I think, in a way. But yeah, I mean, the first time I saw him, he had like it was winter, and he had a cowl neck sweater on, and like spiked soap spiked hair, and he had his leather jacket on that was like hand painted on the back, and he had on like army pants, and I never saw like Docs before, you know, and he had like oxbloods on. And when he looked at me, I had on a blue navy trench coat and like a Tony Hawk haircut, and I had on my Timberlands that I spray painted black because I didn't know where to buy Docs or army or like MC boots, and he just gave me a and walked out of the store. But you know, I looked like a fucking poser.
Was he hanging out at the laundromat too, or no?
No, he was in Astoria. He was hanging out in Astoria. He lived in Jackson Heights, but on 92nd Street. We were on 77th Street, and he just came. I think he saw me, and then, you know, probably asked around and was like, "Are there fucking punks over there now? Like, what's going on?" So he just drove over one night. We used to skate behind the laundromat where the loading docks were. I don't know if you remember, like back there, it was just like garbage can, like the big green garbage cans, and it was just like a bunch of fucking like old car, like, you know, disabled cars, and just loading docks, and some trucks, and we would try to like jump off the loading docks with a skateboard, do bomb drops, or like run off it, and that kind of shit, like things that people who can't skate, like tricks that we do. Jump on a bench and land on the skateboard.
Hopefully land on it. And
and he rolled up and just asked if we were into punk rock, and he had a fucking brown Trans Am, and then he like got out and just started talking to us about stuff, and just, you know, that was it. He had like a new crew, not in Astoria, to hang out with. We used to pick us up at school, and we would jump in his car really quick. Like it was like we got out at 216 and senior year, and all the girls would get out, and everybody would get out, but we were going for just look at the girls at St. John's in Astoria. So we'd fucking hustle over to Astoria in like 10-15 minutes, and we'd post up outside, and Anthony would get out, lean against his car, and every girl that walked by, he'd like either know or like say something to, or like holler at. And all the punk girls, all the new wave girls would like come and hang out by the car.
Wow, that's some movie shit.
It was like being in a movie. And then like when he got like Diva, he would bring Diva with him. He had like a white pit bull in the back of the car. And it was just, you know, like a cool neighborhood guy that we were like friends with. He was a few years older than us, and he just like, but he would make us, you know stuff. And he was the first guy that I ever saw that was like completely 100% open about pornography.
Wow.
And masturbation.
Wow. He's like an older brother. He's like kind of like an older brother figure in a sense.
He was like, I went to his house for the first time. He had his mother and his father had this really cool aesthetic, and the house was cool, and his mom would always move everything around. Like you'd go there, and like the whole living room would always be changed constantly. She'd move everything. It's just like chop it up. And I went upstairs into his room, and it was just covered in records and like fanzines and flyers and dirty magazines and porno tapes and like fucking like Vaseline, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, your mother's gonna come in here. And he's like, what do you think, my mother doesn't know I jerk off?
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God. And he was like, "Well, you don't jerk off?" And I was like, "I don't want to talk about this." And then he was like, "Well, do you?" And I was like, "Oh, yes." And he was just, "All right, at least fucking admit it." And I was like, "Oh my
Wow.
god." Yeah,
She made it
he was
okay to
just like,
talk about it, kind of. Yeah.
"Yeah, you were that age, you didn't really talk about it."
No, hell no.
And then we were over his house for Christmas, and his grandmother turned the TV on, and it was still set like for the VCR, and she turns the TV on, like just the big fucking like wood TV in the middle of the room, and just straight porn is on, like just this guy fucking railing this woman out,
Holy shit.
and his grandmother's like, "Ah," and his mother's like, "Yeah, and he's like, I forgot." He takes the tape out. It's fucking crazy.
Holy shit.
Yeah, just he's fucking. I mean, that's like people that are like, "Oh, Anthony's like crazy." It's like, yeah, see him when he was 20.
That's fuck. And then also we didn't talk a little bit, but the pyramids were a big thing. I remember Ernie took me skating to the pyramids in Queens. That was like a
Yes,
sick spot. What part of Queens was that?
that was in Astoria. That was
Okay.
right down the block from our first drummer, George Mingasopoulos, GM2. His house was on the corner there, and that where everybody used to bomb that hill, and everybody would go to the pyramid. Well, not everybody could skate the pyramids. I mean, I found it impossible, but some street skaters would go there to skate because it was such a crazy. They were just crazy, like they were like tiny banks and like really
Yeah.
severe angles.
No, it was an interesting transition. I remember going there for the first time with those guys too, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, Ernie could crush it. Johnny Stagwell could crush it over there. Timmy Chunks probably got good at it, but those guys grew up skating that. Eddie
Yeah.
Leeway would always skate down that block.
Wow, I didn't skate it too. That's cool.
Yeah, he would like. I think he was more like a like me, like a transportation skater. But he would always just be carving S's down that big avenue, and they had it timed. They knew the like light, like Ernie and some of those guys would stay up on the other corner, and then like the light would be green. They'd count it off, and then they'd just fucking pump it and just fly down that hill as fast as they could, like crouch down, and they'd look like they're about to go through a fucking green light at the intersection, and then like or a red light at the intersection, and then light would change like the last second they were about to like fly through it.
Damn.
So it was pretty cool.
It's fucking awesome. I remember skating with Jason Crackdown once on Long Island. He had like this little cement kind of ditch thing by his house. He was a good skater for sure.
For Jay Crackdown?
Yeah.
No, Richie.
My bad. Richie Crackdown. Yeah.
Richie was.
He was a ripper.
Richie was a good skater. He was fucking. He would just skate hard, like slam. His fucking like it was no. He was doing it or fucking getting hurt.
Yeah.
He had that chain on his guitar. Richie Crackdown was cool.
He was definitely
First time I met Timmy Chunks and Devil, they were skating a half pipe in Queens, like under like a tree somewhere. Someone built.
So random.
And Devil had like overalls, and he kind of like had like longer hair in the front, like almost like a skater cut. He was big, and not like he is now, but he was still like a big dude in overalls. And he was fucking like doing fakies on the like up the whole ramp. And I was like, look at this motherfucker.
Wow. Yeah. I remember moving to New York after I really was a skater in Maryland and stuff, and it was hard to find like half pipes. But I did skate one with Chunks once. I think that might have been it in Queens. There wasn't many half pipes back then. It was mostly street.
Yeah, we had in my neighborhood, someone had like a quarter pipe up, and we like tried to just go up there, turn around, come down.
Now to switch stories on my list of stories. Do you remember on the tour we did in Europe when Rusty hijacked that tractor and we drove around?
Yeah. That was the most county moment ever.
Yeah, we're hanging out at a festival, and it's like, I don't know what we're bored with. It was a tractor, and I think you or somebody said, "Here, Rusty, you know how to drive a tractor?" And like a couple minutes later, Rusty's on that shit.
Rusty was just like, "Of course I can drive a tractor."
And then remember us and Charlie were on the back of that shit, like just cruising around the festival, and Rusty was driving us.
It was like it was very footloose. It was like stolen tractor.
And then another thing I wanted to ask about it too is that we'll go back and forth a little bit, but just tattooing, just how tattooing's changed drastically with portfolios or people's Instagrams now. People are getting their face in their hands. They're getting that, just to call it like the Warped Tour bodysuit, like gloves and mittens. Is there certain tattoos, like will you tell somebody like, hey, I don't think it's a good idea to do your face for your first tattoo? Or
I definitely won't do like a first one, but there's especially girls and women will come in and they have shit on their side of their ears, their necks, their fingers, like little tattoos for like people who don't want to get tattooed. You know, it's very
It's
hot
a new
right
thing.
now.
Yeah, it's like look like pencil drawings almost. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
single
like these
needle.
little tiny, and or just going to someone who's like doing hand poke out of their house and like just getting your
Yes.
hands done, your face done. It's just like,
Yeah.
so I kind of like, I try to explain to people that living heavily tattooed is different, but nowadays it doesn't really seem like it is.
Yeah.
Like, I
It's not
mean,
shocking anymore.
it's not really, yeah. I mean, I think when like you or I take our shirts off, it's more like, oh, okay, you guys really went for it.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's not like just like hands or neck.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays, just like if you're like an Instagram model, male or female, and you have like a, you know, a cross on your face or a black line down your face or some I don't know, spider web around your fucking ear, it's just like sexy and cool.
Yeah.
But I think
It's like an
like some of the
accessory
stuff,
almost. Yeah.
yeah, it's like earrings or like a Gucci bag. Like, oh, I went to
Mm-hmm.
this guy. He's $1,500 an hour, and I got this cherub on my rib, and it's like, oh, cool.
He's the hot.
Um,
Yeah, the one to get done by now. Yeah.
yeah, he's like works out of a hotel, and he's has their champagne. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, I mean, I mean, I don't, you know, me, I don't really change much. So my aesthetic is still a tattoo shop, and
Yeah.
that's it. I mean, that's how I'm going to be until I stop tattooing. But I mean, I appreciate the people that like can embrace like the new machines and the new aesthetics and the new. I just try not to follow trends.
Yeah.
I just want to. My fantasy is like just you know, do what Ed Hardy did and just try to be good at everything and be able to make anybody's happy, you know, anyone's dream come true, what they want, and then try to just do some weird shit for myself. You know, there's like a small group of interesting tattooers that I like, and sometimes I'll do something. You know, 1 out of 100 tattoos that I'll post, and like some of those people will say, you know, cool or good one, and that's enough for me to keep kind of going. Where it's
That's
more
cool.
like I think about, you know, it's more about thinking about the design and having someone who has an aesthetic that you enjoy, you know, reach out
Yeah.
and say like that was cool, you know, or somebody ripped that off. That's cool, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And they're like artists that you look up to still, or are you checking out new artists that are coming up? Or
Yeah, I follow a lot of new
yeah.
people that are more like folky and doing like more art stuff and doing, you know, doing things I can't do, like in terms of like their drawing style or the way they see things. And there's a
Yeah.
few of those. But you know, I could copy anything, but I can't come up with things the way some of these people do because they just are so true to their own aesthetic and their
Mm-hmm.
own mind,
Yeah.
and they just believe like, okay, my audience will, you know, follow. I'm not going to try to like follow shit to get an audience. I'm just going to make my own audience.
For sure.
And it's the same thing with, you know, music and art like that. You just do what you want, and then people who like it will, you know, find you.
Totally.
And but I think the only thing is tattooing is so saturated,
There's a lot of
and
tattoo shops, a lot of tattoo artists now.
there's just so many there's, you know, it's probably times 1,000. You know, for every one, it's probably more than that. Every one when I started, there's probably, you know, 1,000 for every one now. So
Damn.
it's crazy.
You think
And
the
just the
TV
amount of
shows had a lot to
shops.
do with that?
Oh, of course.
You think that helped?
I think it helped ruin. It helps the acceptability of tattooing
Mm.
and increase prices of tattooing, but I think it ruins tattooing in a lot of ways because it just made everybody who would have never gotten into tattoos go,
Think that they could
"Oh,
just tattoo. I could do that.
I could be on TV, or I could be
Mm.
famous, or you know, and not even I
Yeah.
can tattoo, just like it just made it like rock starry or like, you know, it's fucking TV. I mean, the same thing happened with like people who made motorcycles, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
the Jesse James thing came out and then biker build off, and all of a sudden everybody was a bike builder.
Wow, that's true. Good point. Yeah.
You know, it's just television just does that.
But I think it
And
definitely
I mean,
made it okay for people like somebody that I see at Trader Joe's with like a face tat or a FedEx
oh,
guy with a neck
100%.
tattoo, like getting real jobs. Like I don't think there's really job stoppers anymore in a sense.
Oh no, not at all. If anything, it
Yeah.
enhances it. It's like, oh, that guy's a free thinker.
Yeah.
Let me get that guy. Let me get that girl. Let me give that girl a job in human resources. She's She seems apathetic.
It's kind of
But
crazy though that it's kind of just like artwork on skin now. It's not like a stereotype.
no, now it's just
Yeah.
like it's totally normal. But it's I mean, I find it more interesting when people don't have any tattoos.
Me
I'm
too.
just like,
I always
good for
respect that.
you.
Yeah, clean canvas. I like that too.
Yeah, it's great. Or people like don't have any and it's like thinking about getting one. I'm like, don't do it. You haven't done it yet. Don't do it. You don't need it. You don't need
Yeah.
one. Either go bodysuit or don't forget it.
Yeah, and I love how you're still traditional in the sense. I mean, I waited for a long time to get. I had no room to start doing my hands, and you're starting just slowly creep on your hands now. You have some on your
Yeah, I
neck.
just I just
Yeah,
started doing it. My neck, I don't care. Like it never really bothered me. I had my neck for I've had shit on my neck for like 20 years now, but like not full
yeah,
neck collar. I like the hands just like a little bit of junk here and there,
yeah,
like Russian prison kind of style aesthetic.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
I never could picture my hands being covered all the way
yeah.
just because I thought it would bother me. But then as soon as I started getting a few on my hands, I'm like, I don't even notice it anymore.
I know. I
But
love
I
having
waited.
hands. Yeah, yeah.
I just waited and I still have some space on my legs, so I'll finish my legs first before I do
Do you
anything
have
with
your
my
ass?
hands.
You have your butt all done too?
Yeah, for my back.
That shit's
It's not
hard,
totally
man.
finished, but
Shit
it's
hurts.
the worst. It's the worst. Worst
Yeah.
worst part.
Yeah.
Worst thing I ever got done.
And I think feeling as we get older too, getting tattooed it definitely hurts more, man. Depends where it at. Because the spots we have at
Yeah.
this age are like the worst ones to hit. You
Yeah,
know what I
that's the thing.
mean?
I got like the backs of my knees to do it. I'm like not looking forward to it. But I got it, it'll get done. But I just so busy and shit.
Yeah.
And I just do it like I'll just do like a spurt where I'll just go like, all right, I'm just gonna get like fucking 5 tattoos right now, boom, because I thought about it. And I'll just do it. Get it over with.
Yeah. Um,
It's not even about wanting to get tattoos. It's about just filling the space because I
I
can't look at the
know.
spaces.
It's crazy because now I had these spots like down by my Johnson that I told Dan I got to hit ASAP because I just realized that I just saw this. I did the cold plunge naked. My wife took a picture of me and I saw it. I was like, yo, that looks so stupid. I just got to, and I didn't want to do it, but I just have to do it just to fill it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just there.
Did you do photos post cold plunge so you're all shrunk up, or you went right out of sauna all hot? Like you went all hot and moist.
No, Joe went fucking that shit. Yeah, it just disappeared. But yeah,
Dan was like, "Great, can't wait to tattoo you, Johnson."
that's what he said. He's like, fuck. I don't know if I'd ever do my Johnson though. Would you ever do that?
No,
Yeah, me either, man. I'm not doing that.
it's like a bumper sticker on a Ferrari, man. No way.
Oh, that's a good. Another. Now we're gonna switch to another thing. I remember like you've never really cared about. You're kind of a hardcore hoarder. You have a lot of things you saved, flyers, records, T-shirts, and all that shit, but not the most serious about it because we talked about it too off the pod. Like I remember going to your house and like all your 7 inches of some of your records, your cat had all clawed all them all off. You had like original pressings of a bunch of shit. Like to you,
Yeah.
it's just stuff that you lived. You're not really like crazy about collecting shit for
No,
your band.
not like my. I have like some sentimentality with certain things that I would never get rid of just because they mean something to me. But they're objects, they're material objects,
Yeah.
and I think you have to be willing to be able to take it if something happens to a material object,
Yeah.
and you realize you're only going to either sell it or hand it down to somebody, eventually.
Yeah.
And I've kind of learned. Sorry, buddy. I've kind of learned through the years that like if you pass it on to somebody who loves it as much as you do or more, it doesn't hurt to get rid of stuff. Like I had
Yeah.
to sell some records when I bought my house upstate, the lake house, because I had to show money. Like they were
Yeah.
just like, you can't just invent money and put it in the bank. Like you have to show it. So I sold some paintings, I sold some records, I sold some
Chunking.
stuff. I sold the Chungking, and I had
Damn.
that was given to me by Purcell, and his apartment on like I guess in the Lower East Side, and we were going out to lunch with some people, and I went to his house, and he was like, "Yo, do you have one of these?" And I was like, "No," and he was just like, "Well, you were there at the recording, like take one," and I was like, I need a joke record, like I'm good. And he's like, just take it. It's cool. I was like, nah, I'm fine. He's like, just fucking
Damn.
take it. I said, dude, I don't want to. What am I? And I took it and I put it under my arm. And I'm like, now I'm this dick walking around all day with a fucking white record under my arm. And I was like, I don't want to be this guy right now. I want to just go out and have
Jeez.
lunch. And he's like, just take it. And I fucking capitulated and I took it. And thank God I did. But yeah, and just sat in a box for, I don't know, fucking almost 30 years. And I never even listened to it.
Damn.
But I was at those recording sessions.
It's amazing.
And yeah, then this collector from Europe who I tattoo, he said he had 3 or 4 of them, and he was always looking. He has a real job, and he's well off. So he was like, he's still straight edge. He's in his 50s, and he's like an engineer. And he was just like, yeah, love more. And I said, well, I don't think I'll ever get rid of it, but if I do, I'll let you know, because I'm not gonna like do it publicly on like eBay or something.
Yeah.
I find that a little like
Poshmark, yeah, that shit, yeah.
Yeah, Poshmark, yeah. So yeah, I sold it kind of privately, and then he actually, before Alex passed, he asked for if Alex would sell his test pressing of it.
Wow.
So I think Alex sold him privately the test pressing.
Wow.
So there was few, and some of the dolls and some 7 inches I got rid of just because, they, like, one of my good friends is a tattoo machine collector, and I have so much tattoo memorabilia too.
Yeah.
And like way more than music stuff, like, thousands of sheets of flash and stuff. That's cool. But he, I'm obsessed with that shit too. But my friend sold a really rare Paul Rogers machine, and I texted him. I said, what the fuck, dude? Like, why'd you sell that? And he was just like, he's like, I'm buying a house. He's like, and I said, oh, okay. He goes, you can't live in a tattoo machine.
It's true.
And I was so I used that when I sold the record. I was like, hey man, you can't swim in a record.
You cannot, man. Damn.
And you know what? You make fucking people who are way more obsessive collectors
who weren't there. You were there. You lived it. It's different.
Makes them happy. Yeah, to me it was just, I remember Anthony Caminelli one day said, I got like I can't remember what record I was trying to get. Like, it was like a Negative Approach 7-inch, I think. And I finally got one from like Bleecker Bob's or something. And he was just like, yeah, I got that shit when it came out at the show. And I was just like, oh God, all right, But it makes sense though. Like, that's how I bought most of my shit from, too, like at shows when I did that, some records or whatever, So it doesn't mean, you get it at the time. Where I've had people be like, well, how do I know that this is selling something, and say, how do I know that this is a real record? And I said, I don't know. I fucking bought it from the band at the show. I mean, I guess I'm not sure if you need more proof than that.
Yeah, that's it.
Whatever. Yeah. I mean, that's all I can say. It's my record, and I bought it from the band. So.
Yeah. What about t-shirts? You got crazy t-shirts too?
I actually still have some, but I actually was reading. I started reading the journals from the GB US tour, the '89 tour.
Yeah.
And it reads differently. There's a lot more like time off, and there's a lot more because I'm not a roadie. I'm participating in this. There's a lot more shit talking and complaining in the journal of my own band, and a lot more confusion about like why we have 3 days off in the beginning of the tour in Florida and shit like that. But at one point I don't know what the fuck was going through my head, but I took a bag of my old t-shirts that like I didn't care about or didn't fit into or didn't want anymore. And for some fucking reason, I thought it'd be a good idea to like give them away to hardcore kids, like at each show. Like,
oh my God. Wow.
That's stupid, right?
Jesus Christ. So really nice of you. Yeah.
Well, dumb, but nice. But I don't think anything too crazy, probably I gave away, but the only one I really wish I had shit stolen. I had my Schism long sleeve stolen.
Damn.
When some Italians are land pirates. They would 7 inches would go missing and records would go missing.
Damn.
And some Europeans would stay at the house. And then before Alex died, he actually sent me. He stayed at the house and he gave me 2 he had 2 original Schisms, and he was like, you know, you can have one.
Wow.
And I tried it on, and I was like, I don't know, dude. Will I ever? I might wear this. I don't know. And then I felt bad. I said, "Why?" I said, You're looking to sell stuff." I said, "Just sell it." And he was like, "I'll give you one, but if you don't want it, I'll sell it." And I was like, "I want it, but I just, you know, I should have kept it. I regret it now." But he sold it. But I mean, I had it. When it was you know, I had it back in the day. Just, you know, I have
Yeah.
pictures of me wearing it, and you know, it's again, it's a shirt.
It's a memory,
But
and,
I
and you
have
got pictures you wearing it too back in the day too.
Yeah,
So it's like,
I have like original GB shirts that like one-offs that we made ourselves and for screens, and
wow.
I have old UC shirts, old Youth Today
You got the original
shirts.
GB demo.
I have 3 of the original demos with
Wow.
different covers. Yeah,
Holy
actually, Roger actually texted me, and
He's
he
got a
was
big
like,
collection. Yeah.
I didn't know, and he sent me a picture, and he was like, "Hey, I think he was selling it to somebody." And he was like, "You gave me this at a show in
Damn.
1985, or like it was like your first demo." And I said, "I gave you that?" And he's like, "Yeah, at CB's." And I said, "Was I shaking like a leaf and all pale and like crying, like walking over to you, like the hand?" I can just picture me and Walter being like, "You go give it to him. No, you give it to him. No, you give it to him. You give it to him." But yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I kept that shit." And he's like, "I
Damn.
have all that stuff." And he sent me pictures, and I was like, "Oh my god!" But no, what it was, I had 100 bootleg 7 inches that I was going to bring and sell at a show for like $5. Somebody bootlegged them like 20 years ago, and Jordan confiscated them.
Oh shit.
And they had these weird like yellow or orange covers. And Roger hit me up and said, "Hey, I don't have one of those." And I said, Why would you want one?" And he was just like, he was like, "I have all your shit." He's like, "I have all the GB records, and I don't have that." And I said, "How many do you want?" I was like, "Because I have," and I just sent him some.
Oh, that's
But
awesome,
you know, it's fucking Roger. So
dude. It's
it's
fucking.
like,
Dude.
yeah, it's like that means more to me than anything, that Roger would give a shit and keep a fucking demo tape. Like, that's more important to me than having a demo tape. But
Yeah.
yeah, we have like 3 different covers. One said like by Nabisco, one had like a weird gorilla, like new wave looking drawing, and then one was the regular like dude. But I
It's
mean, we used
cool.
to just make them. I used to speed dub them in my. I only wanted like a stereo with a double cassette.
So you'd make the dubs like that. Wow.
Yeah, we went down to 34th Street, and there was a store that sold cassettes in like bulk, like in like a like shrink wrap.
Yeah.
And I would do that, and then we would speed dub them at my house before like we would play the show, and then I actually have it still. I have a master copy of like the demo, like on one piece of paper. It's like 2 of the demo covers, and we
Yeah.
would take it across the street and copy it, and then cut them out, and I'd fold them up and make demo tapes before we went to shows.
Crazy, man.
Fuck, killing the merch game.
Always killing the merch game.
always killing it, selling like 5 demo tapes. I'd do the same thing. I'd make them and go down to some records and give them to Dwayne.
Oh yeah, some records. Shit, that was an amazing spot too. 99X. Damn, dude.
Fuck yeah.
All right. Well, appreciate your time. The last story I just want to go real quick with you is you told an amazing story in my voice, and you were witness to this. We had no phones. We had no cameras back then. The night I met Madonna, I was with you. It was CBGB's. It was the night before either Lollapalooza got rained out or something. It was Booyah Tribe, I think. I think you knew it better than I did, but you told it so well in your Winnebago. I want to hear it again.
In my memory,
Let's go.
It was 1992, and and it was because that's when I started tattooing, and I think we were at my apartment, and I was either tattooing somebody, and we were hanging out because we always wound up there and listened to like Social Distortion over and over.
Yes.
And we heard, or someone found out that Booyah Tribe was playing at CB's, and it was going to be, I remember something to do with CMJ where like people were doing like their things trying to get signed. And Maverick was looking at Booyah Tribe, and supposedly Madonna and Guy Oseary were going to be there to watch them.
Yeah.
And so you of were in full panic mode because you, you, you knew Madonna, as you would call her sometimes
Yes,
when
with
you're
the R.
excited.
Yes, Madonna.
You
Yeah.
have an R in there. So Madonna, oh man, Madonna's going to be at CB's. So we stopped what we were doing and we went to go find Madonna. And Brendan always worked the door at CB's. So even if it was like a closed event, he knew it was, hardcore guys were just going
Yeah.
to bother him until we got in. Brendan SFA.
Yeah.
And that's how we got into that Social D thing too. It was like band courtesy.
Oh, that's right. That was that you posted. You tagged me the other day. That was so sick. I remember being there.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Brendan would just go, go ahead, you dicks, like go in. And so yeah, so we went in, and there was like no, I kind of remember like not many people being there. It was an industry
It's
thing, and we
true.
sat at the tables in the
Yep.
back on that raised
We
tier.
never do really ever set a tables at CB's. Yeah.
Never, no, we were that like. Remember, it was across from the bar. It was like
Yep.
raised. It was like just like a row of tables, and you'd sell merch up there.
Yeah.
So we posted up there, and I think like Conan was with us, Tom was with us probably, and maybe Fern. I think Fern might have been with us because that
Okay.
was like another guy that was always hanging.
Yeah.
And they played, and they had like sexy dancing girls on stage with them, and they were doing their thing. And then they were almost done. I don't think she stayed till they were done, and then they walked out. It was her and just Gausseri, maybe like one handler dude, no security, nothing. And that's you went into full panic mode, jumped down, kind of cut them off, and you were like whisper talking in a strange way, and you were like and you were holding a pen really tight. And I don't know if you had to sign a record or a picture.
No, I had
a
a picture in my wallet I carried on me.
Yeah, you gave her something to sign, and you had like a blue big pen, and you pushing the cap on so hard, and you were like, "Oh, Madonna, I love you so much. I fucking love you. Can you sign this picture for me?"
I showed her
And
my
she
tattoo
was-
too. I showed her my tattoo.
Yeah, you had the tattoo from Josh, and and she was, ultimately like the coolest of cool, and she was just staring at you, kind of smirking,
Yes.
not weirded out at all, just kind of like enjoying the craziness of it all.
Yes.
Just the craziness of being in CB. So like a bunch of dudes standing around, they're just completely cool as a cucumber. Lower East Side queen, and she was trying to get the blue cap, the pen off the cap off the pen, and she couldn't get it off because you pushed it on so hard. and you were like, and you just kept mumbling, I love you so much, I love you so much. and she was like, Toby, if you love me so much, get this fucking cap off this pen.
Damn.
And then you put it in your mouth and you pulled it, and you gave her the pen, and she signed it.
Yeah.
And then she, smiled and said thanks and left. And we followed her outside, and they got into a total creeps, But we were leaving anyway. But we were definitely being creeps, and we followed her outside. But good thing we did, because then she got in an all blacked out, murdered out Mercedes, and they got in, and she was in the back passenger side, and she rolled down the window and looked over at us, and she smiled and waved all cutesy, and she said, "Bye, Toby."
Oh my God, dude.
And then it was like you just basically fell out onto the floor. She, what I mean? Like we were. I think we all were just like, God damn, like
that was
a
moment, like, dude. Fuck.
That's a moment. That's just like,
that's our story.
It wasn't even my moment. That wasn't even my moment.
I appreciate you being there with me, bud. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
But that's a moment, like not film nothing. That's just our story. Now the world knows the story on here, but like that's like a moment. That's like a fucking crazy, like random night at CBGB's.
That's a New York moment.
Yes.
Yeah, there's LA moments and there's New York moments, but like nobody around her, no security, no nothing. Lower East Side, CB's,
dude.
And she's just totally cool and sweet, and like knew exactly what you needed.
Yes. You know what's crazy is that like after that, she came to a Roseland show to see Rancy. She wanted to sign them. I remember being on stage and her sitting in the VIP while we're playing. The moon was behind her, pointing out, "This is Madonna," like from behind. I was like, "Holy shit!" And then after the show, we went downstairs. I'm not sure if you're with us, with Rob Vitale and Brian. A bunch of people came downstairs, and then she was wearing like a white see-through slip because like early '90s, that was her style, like a see-through like it was, and we went downstairs and Laura's like, "I want you to meet somebody." She's like, "I remember you." She was with Freddie DeMann, and she grabbed my hand and turned it over and showed him. She goes, "I met you. I remember meeting you." I was like, And everybody's like, what the
Oh,
fuck? It was a moment too, bro. Like, fuck.
straight boner moment.
And then it ended up being in one of her, I have like a coffee table book. I was reached out through the label, and they have a half page in one of the Madonna style books. I have it here. It's crazy, bro.
That's awesome.
It's so cool, man. Those are those
I
random
had
moments.
I'm going to share one of my burn memory moments, if you don't mind.
Go.
This was I was on a plane. This is like the most like annoying rock and roll thing, but I was on a plane coming back from LA. I was editing a video with Mick G. Remember that dude? He's like he did all like Sugar Ray videos, and he did like a Charlie's Angel movie and shit. So he and we did the video, and we weren't happy with it. So I flew back, and I was sitting with him and trying to edit it down, make it cooler with him. And I was flying back, and I was with Scott McGee and some other dude, and we were like, the plane was empty. We were coming back to New York on like a red eye, and we were in the back of the plane chopping it up, and they ran into some dude on the plane that they knew. And there was this guy in the back row, and he was like kind of listening, laughing along, and like nodding. And I was like, yo, dude, like, I know you, right? And he's just like, I don't know. And I was like, you're an actor. And he's like, I am an actor. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, yo, you were in Youngblood, and you were in like Footloose. And he was like, I started like giving him some of his movies, and he was like reading. He put the book down. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, you know Youngblood? And I said, yeah, man, I used to play hockey. I love that shit. That was a good movie. Cynthia Gibb. And he's like, whoa. And I said, so I'm like on the corner of the chair, but there's something missing. Like there's a piece, and I'm like trying to find it in my head. And I started like interviewing him, and I was like, so when did, what happened? And he was like, I did this, I did this, I did this, I do some plays. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, honestly, it's been super hard. I haven't worked in like a long time, like in a like real movie, like I've been working, but not like how I want to, and fucking business. And, he's just having like a real moment, like shit was tough. So we leave, we're waiting for a car to pick us up. He's waiting, to get in a car, and he's under the street light, but he's like, a couple 100 feet down. He's just like, and he gets on the street light, and he lights a cigarette, and his hair falls like a certain way. And the way he smokes a cigarette, and I go, no. And my fucking car pulls up, and I go, watch my bag. And I start running down the fucking thing. And Scott's like, yo, our car's here. What are you doing? I said, give me a minute. So I run, and he's got his back turned. And I grabbed him, and I spun him around. And I said, yo, fuck you, dude. You're a wanderer. And he was one of my favorite movies of all time.
Incredible
right?
movie.
So I can't remember his fucking name right now, but he was the one that threw up into the trophy and like at the girls' party in like the house. He was one of the main wanderers. In the first scene, he's like, it looks like we're going to have to stomp some ass. And then he gets chased by the
I'm going to look it up after this. Damn.
So he starts cracking up, and he's like, are you kidding me? And I said, that's my fucking favorite movie, that and The Warriors. Like, how did I not think of this? Like, you're a fucking wanderer. And he's just like, first movie I ever tried out for. I moved to New York in a week. I tried out. I got the part. I did the movie.
Damn.
And I'm like, dude, that movie was a fucking game changer. You're so fucking cool. Like, I was like, I got to go. So we shake hands. I turn around, and this is only going to be for Wanderer fans, if anybody saw the movie. I'm running back to my car, and he goes, hey. And he's under a street light. It's like raining lightly. His hair is falling. He's smoking a cigarette.
Wow.
And I turn around, and he goes, Wanderers forever, man. Last line in the movie.
Damn.
And I just gave myself chills right now saying it.
Wow.
And at that moment, I was a wanderer.
Yeah,
and at that moment, that dude knew what I needed.
Mm.
And he gave me the perfect, I'm talking about it almost 30 years.
Dude. Yeah.
Wanderers forever, man. And that was it. And he just got in his car.
That's beautiful.
Like you can't be that. Nobody can be that cool.
And you had that, and that's another moment, just your moment, you too, that was never recorded. None of that shit. It's just real shit, real combo.
No, yeah, just it happened. But
It's
that's
like
what I'm
Goonies
saying.
Never
Like,
Die type shit. Yeah, dude. Fuck.
but I mean, like, think about how cool like Madonna was to you,
Yeah.
and this dude was that cool to me.
And
They
they,
could
and
just
they
went
didn't
like,
have to
yeah,
be. They didn't even have to give you the
no,
time of day. Yeah.
no. That's what I'm saying.
Damn.
But he appreciated how much I appreciated, him, and it
Yeah.
probably felt good to be recognized after like not working, and
Awesome, man.
and I'm sure Madonna thought it was cool that a bunch of fucking
Tatted up.
shitheads,
Yeah.
tatted up assholes on the Lower East Side thought she was cool.
And that tattoo, yeah, fuck, man. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, if someone gets a tattoo of you, that's you got to be like, okay, you're insane, but thank you.
Well, I appreciate you and your support with my band from day one, being there when I recorded my first album, singing, doing your speaking part on Here Take on Tomorrow, and then fast forward, still here, and like, even you broke my balls my whole life. You always gave me tough love and supported my band from the jump, from the 7 inch.
Listen, you need people. You need people to break your balls, or otherwise you just get your ass kissed and then you become an asshole. So
no, I know.
My job.
So you kept me nice. Thank you.
my life's mission is make sure my friends don't act like assholes.
Well, you helped. I appreciate that.
And I have friends who do it for me. So
for sure, but you've always supported my band though from jump, man.
Of course. I mean, why hate on your friends' bands or music or any of your friends' endeavors? Friends who don't support each other are just haters. So
it makes me happy when you see you on stage singing along and all that shit. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker took me in, and now we're playing together. It's just beautiful. Like how far we're still playing in the years,
I mean, I know all the songs from all the times we played together, and I have your fucking records, but really that Skiba part just makes me wish I tried harder on any of your records, because he just killed it with that thing. You're kind of pissed off at what an overachiever that fucking that last line was, and that chorus and that verse.
It's crazy because I saw him the other day and we were talking about it since I came back from these shows, and just like, I just sent it to him randomly, and he came back. We sent him the bridge, and he came back. He had written the whole thing and just sent it back, and we were like bugging on like what he wrote, how it sounded.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
No, first time I heard it, I said, "Oh, I wish I would have tried harder," because I didn't try at all compared to that. That was like, it pissed me off a little bit.
Fuck.
But yeah, it's a beautiful sentiment and written so well, where you're just like, yeah.
Well, thank you, man. Well, thank you for everything, and thank you for being on the pod, and I
of
don't know,
course.
just everything, playing the shows together. Our bands are such a good job. I can't look forward to do more with you.
It's good. It's good. It's good. It's a good vibe, and it's a good combo, the two of us. And New York is up next.
Yeah, I'm really excited, man. And I'll drop a link for your book and everything on this pod. And dude, this was just as fun as the first combo, man. So thank you, Sib. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, I always got, both of us have a million stories. So whenever we're back in, I'll do the ice plunge, and we'll do another.
Do a part 2. Hell yeah.
Yo, you got to put an air conditioner in that fucking kitchen, though.
It's in there now. I just bought it today. I just bought one today. It's coming tonight. I got the most high end. I call my boy in Philly, and it's the most quiet high end one, because I had ended on my podcast yesterday, and I feel like I was They had a great time, and I feel like they were melting. So they put their heads.
Who was it?
I had the whole band ended on my podcast yesterday.
Oh, I love those guys.
Mad cool. We talked about it in the pod. It was awesome. And after that, they all stuck their head in the cold plunge.
Oh, good.
All right,
that's cool. Those guys are sick.
They're really sick. But I'll see you in a month, and love you, man, and have a great weekend.
All right, buddy. Love you. Talk to you later.
Bye.
I'm up. I'm back.
Yo, we're on the pod. We're live on the pod. I got a new air condition today. I got the most high end. I got the most high end one. It has zero sound. I just did a podcast with Speed, and it's like 70 degrees in this fucking kitchen. I'm so happy.
Oh, nice. Did you have the whole band over?
No, just a singer and my boy Ricky from Flat Spot Records. Was awesome, man.
Cool.
Yeah, but the two things I call back for that really don't really mean much to you, but just something I want to just say on record is that I realized yesterday when I got off the phone that the first time I ever was in a studio, first time I ever sang on a microphone was singing backups on Start Today. So whatever it may be, it's your fault that my band started. So thank you. That's the first time I recorded shows at that studio on a microphone. It's crazy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, bro.
And Don Fury's?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Singing backups with the Sick of It All guys?
Yes. Oh, yeah, they're on the record too, right?
Yeah, I think we had to get like beefier sound, so we got like Pete and Armand and Lou. We got to like get that barrel in there.
Yeah, they're just not they're not in the first top 5 thanked people on that record though. So I'm number 3, I think. Toby Closet Master, no alphabetical order, but yeah, that's the first time recording on a mic, and so yeah, I want to thank you for that. And that kind of like, I don't know, maybe that kicked it all off inside my head. Who knows?
Who kn- I remember. What I remember you doing, like making your nose bleed, singing that song
Our Love Is
with.
Real. Yeah, man.
Yeah, "When Love Is Real."
And then my
That was with Lars. Lars, right?
yeah, do it the Wetlands. Correct.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, the last thing too is not for me. It's just it was a ball busting thing for years. You always broke my balls for wearing Nikes. You never wore Nikes. You always rocking New Balance or Asics. I forgot what your shoes are, but then as of recently, I remember you sent me a text of your first pair of Nikes you bought like in 20 years. What was the crossover?
Well, no, I wore Nikes. I
Oh, back in
had
the day.
cross training, like the ones with the Velcro, like my favorite ones ever. They had the black Velcro in like the front, and they were
I
like
do remember
they
those.
were almost like cabs, like they were 3/4.
Half cabs.
Those were my favorite ones ever. Yeah, like they were like half cabs, but they were Nikes, and they had that. I can't remember what they were called. They were like a cross trainer, like the first ones, and those were like the most. Couldn't believe what great fucking sneakers those were. That was so cool. And then I watched Michael Moore's The Big One, and it's about bringing jobs back to Flint, Michigan. And he went to the president of Nike and said, "We have factories, we have people ready to work. Stop making your shoes overseas and bring them back to Flint." And the guy was just like, "People in Flint, Michigan don't want to work. People in America don't want to work." He's like, "That's why I make my shoes for this much per in other countries." And Michael Moore was like, "I have, 500 people that signed this petition that said they would work in your factory for this much." And the dude was just like, I'm not doing it. And just the
Wow.
president, I can't remember his name, the president of Nike was just it was so much just about the bottom line and money and business, and not about, there was no human factor in it for him. And Michael Moore even said, you know how fat Michael Moore is. He was like, "I will challenge you to a foot race. And if I beat you, you have to bring a factory to Flint." And the guy was like, "I'm not racing you. I'm not doing anything. Like, it's business, and I can make my shoes for, pennies on the dollar."
Damn.
And like, so I was just like, fuck Nike. And
Gotcha.
then you gave me, I think you were the one that gave me sales pitches about how they repurpose them and make kids playgrounds out of them and all that kind of like.
And there's and there's like a bunch of places like factories where like this same place they make Nikes, they were making Vans as well and Converse, and it was all like.
Oh yeah, I just how I
I
am.
know, I know, I know.
I hold a grudge forever, and I just had a grudge. I had a grudge against Nikes, and then after like 25 years, I let it go because I couldn't find any. And really the reason was I was trying to find new sneakers for to go on like the weekend thing of shows. My sneakers were all like blowing out and fucked up because I'm stupid is I'll buy new shoes and then I wear them like for the property to do work and paint something or get all full of mud and fuck them up, and then I wear them every day and then I just blow them out quick. So I was in my neighborhood and I was trying to go to like the sneaker store, and I couldn't find anything that wasn't like leather or suede or whatever. And I found these Nike running shoes, and they were like, fucking walking on a cloud, and they were all like man-made material. So I bought them.
Awesome.
And then I bought those blue ones that you saw me wearing.
I just saw a remix where you're talking "Hold Your Grudge," or a side band called Grudge. So sick.
Oh yeah, I would definitely be a great grudge songwriter. I only have a couple. I actually talked to Tim Singer the other day. Oh, not talked, DM'd. Yeah, that was a really long one.
Have you ever had therapy before, or therapeutic conversations with people about stuff?
Like actual therapy?
Yeah, in life, yeah.
I had gone to couples therapy.
Okay.
With my ex, and I loved it. And then the fact that I loved it, she hated it.
Oh shit.
And it didn't last long.
But music's pretty much been therapy for you throughout your life anyway.
I don't know. I don't want to really open up this can of worms. I try not to do too much therapy. I did therapy with my oldest kid.
Yeah.
But it was more for them.
Yeah.
And I just sat in because they were underage, and we did it together. And that was hard. That was hard to do, but it was
sure.
Cool. Yeah, but I mean, personally, like, go to a therapist and be like, "All right, man, let's unwrap this fucking Fist
Peel
and
back
no
these
thanks.
layers. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I know where it all stems from. I just deal with it in different ways. I think it
I
gets
respect
easier as I
that.
get older.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Sim, this is it, man. This is the call. This is it. It's out today. This is our final call, and we'll do a part 2. When you come back to my AC, we'll be chilling. And this has been great. Thank you again. I know you're busy, and yeah, I'm psyched. As the people listening now,
No
the
sweat.
episode is out. 4 years in the making. We did it. My favorite
You
quote
know
of
what
all
they,
this. I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Well, you know what it was? It had to be. Everything happens at the right time.
I
It
know.
happens when it's
I know.
supposed to.
I know.
And that's it. And that's what it was.
Are you
I
watching the
mean, if I
fights
just
tonight?
did it. You know what? I might, but I have company over.
Okay.
Mary's friends are my friends too, but Mary's like best friend from high school is up with her kids and her husband at the lake, and my son, who is a year and 3, how old is he? A year and 4 months, decided to wake me up at 4:15.
Jeez.
So I got 4 hours
It
sleep,
was brutal.
and I've been up all day and doing stuff, running around. But yeah, I'm yawning on the couch. It's like 9:30.
Oh, that's right.
New
That's
York
right.
time. But I would like to watch the fights, but I'll probably just watch them like I'll
Highlights or
forget
something.
about it, and like
Yeah.
I'll watch them in a month for free, and I go, oh, sick, cool, sick fight.
All right,
That's
bro.
what I use ESPN Plus, bro.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yep.
And
No sweat.
have a great weekend.
All right, I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay, brother. Bye.
Later, bud. Peace.
I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swiped the credit card. Don't really tell me much. Didn't give me much details or anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years I have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life One Chance podcast is now with Removery. I have a code. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. Call 866-934-4570 or go to removery.com. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Over 600,000 removal treatments done. 100 locations, U.S., Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art peak-away laser technology, cryotechnology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Once again, go to removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out.